Next on Saratoga Live, my boy Tate. He's turned into a win machine for trainer Michelle Nevin. He goes for a 6th straight victory in today's Tail of the Cat. After a year away from the races, Silver Ride returned better than ever off the bench. Now comes his toughest test yet in his stakes debut. She's already beat the boys twice with victories in the first 2 legs of the Canadian Triple Crown. Now Wonder Godot hopes to pull off a Travers shocker. We'll preview her showdown against the boys coming up here at Saratoga on August the 25th. All that and more coming up on this Friday edition of Saratoga Live. It's presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Beautiful Friday afternoon and a packed house here at the premier race meet in the entire country at Saratoga Racecourse. Great to have you with us. Fans taking in a sensational day of Friday racing action here at the spa and upstairs here on the roof with a great view of things. Greg Wolf alongside one of the top trainers in the entire country, Tom Amos. Our feature race today, the Tail of the Cat, and my boy Tate just keeps reeling off win after win after win, and that streak started all right here at Saratoga.
It did indeed. He's won his last 5 in a row, a multiple stakes winner, New York bred. This race suits him perfectly. He likes to sprint anywhere from 6 to 7/8. 6 furlongs today is right up his alley.
4 wins in a row, though, including a couple of stakes at Aqueduct. People, do you think they're saying, oh, he's an Aqueduct specialist? Does he have something to prove today?
Well, if you want to find a flaw, if there is one, maybe it's that he hasn't been out since February 19th. He's coming off a layoff, but he sure knows how to do it.
That was Dylan Davis on board for those last 2 victories. He had 9 wins in the last couple of days when he had that victory in the Holly Hughes. He was on fire back in February at Aqueduct. So we're looking forward to that feature race coming up in just a little bit. You can get signed up, started, play along with all the races we show you each and every day here on Saratoga Live by going to NYRABets.com. Bet $200, you'll get $200 in your account. Use the promo code Saratoga Live. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime to take advantage. Let's meet the rest of our crew downstairs by the paddock. New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling and former New York Met and LA Dodger Paul LaDuca. Hi, guys.
Thanks so much, Greg. It's interesting, actually. My boy Tate, undefeated sprinting. Yeah. One of the more interesting things about him. Silver Ride. I tell you, Paul, I thought this race was wide open. Really, 4 of the 5 can all easily win this race. One thing I liked about Silver Ride, he's coming off maybe his best race ever.
And, you know, it's a race basically where he had such a long layoff, over a year layoff. And the key about it was he was able to pass horses. When you come off layoffs, usually you'll get a little tired and maybe you'll steal a race on the front end. I thought he was able to rate moderate fractions that day. Really didn't get bet. He sort of outran his odds because he knows how to win races.
Yeah, and he beat some good horses. Wonderful Light was second, is a very talented runner from Michelle Nevin, the same trainer as my boy Tate. Maybe didn't get the best of trips, but he's still a good horse. And Stalwalker Dude, who's won this race, the Tail of the Cat, 2 times in a row, he finished 3rd in there. Now, maybe he's not quite as good as he once was, and he's coming off a layoff, but it still was a quality field, and he's got to step up and beat another one here. It is a fascinating running of the Tail of the Cat. Maggie Wolfendale's in the paddock to discuss another member of the competitive Tail of the Cat.
That's right, Andy. On the outside is always sunshine. The Ned Allard trainee comes in off the back of a win down at Delaware Park in the Hockenson, in which he beat last year's winner of this race in Stalwalkin' Dude. And it does feel as though Always Sunshine could be rounding back into form after kind of losing his way last year as a 5-year-old. This guy also, too, back had a bit of a troubled trip in the Grade 2 True North, which was won by the leader of this older dirt sprint division in Imperial Hint. Also, Ned Allard does bring his regular rider Frankie Pennington up to the spa here to ride Always Sunshine, in which these two have teamed up for 6 of his wins, 6 of his 7 wins during his career. So they are quite a pair here, as I'm looking forward to checking out this Tail of the Cat field. But I want to know about Gabby Gaudet as she's standing by at the handicapping contest and how everybody's faring over there, Gabby.
Well, there are a couple of empty seats, Maggie, but there are still a lot of filled seats, actually. Obviously, the Saratoga Challenge started in race 1 and continues all the way into race 10. We are at the NYRABet Simulcast Center. And just to tell you a little bit about this challenge, so it's a $1,000 entry fee. $500 goes to the live bankroll. $500 goes to the prize pool. And talking to some representatives here, there has been an overwhelmingly positive response. 215 entrants, up from just, I think, over 100 from last year. And not only that, the prize pool for first place is increased too. So that's just shy, a couple $100 shy of $30,000. Not only that, other things that are up for grabs: 3 seats to the NHC and 1 seat towards the Belmont Stakes contest. So it's a lot of fun here. And Greg, I already found out a big no-no here. Do not stand in front of the TV when it's post time.
Gabby, you know better than that. Come on. This rookie night? By the way, the NHC, for those who don't know, National Handicapping Championship. So that is a prestigious prize that everyone's trying to get there. And when we get in that contest, you are playing for big-time money.
You know, there's a tremendous amount of strategy that goes on with those races, watching the leaderboard and seeing what you have to do with each race to catch up.
Here's a look at the races that we're going to be looking at in our show. It comprises the late pick 4, mile and 3/8 over the inner turf coming up to kick off the sequence. We'll be on the turf at a mile and 16th in race 8. Our feature, the Tail of the Cat, race 9. And a difficult one to close things out. New York bred maiden special weight, 5.5 on the turf in race 10. Weather and track conditions are presented by Piranha Fly Spray, the preferred fly spray of the Saratoga Racecourse. Piranha on, pest gone. Fast on the main track, good on the turf course. As we get set to look at the field here for the 7th. Again, a mile and 3/8. It's on the inner turf. Allowance optional claiming race, 62,500 here. An Empress of the Nile with a James Bond barn, the 8-5 morning line favorite, and at that price right now, Tom.
Yeah, a deserving favorite, was second behind a graded stakes winner in Somersault, but maybe vulnerable at this distance, and that's where the rest of the field comes into play, as well as what I think is a significant scratch. The 5-horse Nick's Warrior was going to keep the pace legitimate with the 7, Lady Joan. Now it's just Lady Joan, the 7, who's going to show the way, and that's why she's being bet on. She's currently 7-2, our 7-horse.
All right, we're going to see your pick 4 ticket in a moment. Paul LaDuca, what'd you come up with?
Well, I came up with a ticket that could be a little confusing. Race number 7, I just don't trust any of the horses in there, and so I'm in all that race. I'm playing the reverse pyramid, I guess. I'm trying to get to the horse in the last race. And you can see I'm not going to use Silver Ride. I think My Boy Tate, we'll see how good he is. I think Always Sunshine actually is the horse to beat in our feature. Then race number 10, Asmussen. Listen, he's been on fire. Second-time starter, son of Freud, going to get on the turf. He goes to his main rider, Ricardo Santana Jr. The last race is so confusing. It looks like a horse you either got to take a chance and either single a stand, or there could be many.
All right, so that's how Paul LaDuca played it. Tom Amos, your pick 4.
Yeah, I'm with Paul in the 7th race, the one coming up right now. I think it's a very wide-open race. The pace scenario has me confused a bit. I don't see a lot in there. It's going to hurt some horses' chances, like our heavy favorite, Empress of the Nile, currently at 3-2. Go to the 8th race. I'm a little bit more narrowed down there. I really like the 6. She Doesn't Mind. We'll get into that. Hasn't run often and is an older horse, but I think is coming into the race the right way. The feature race, it's the 1 and the 3, My Boy Tate being the most likely. And then in the last, we have a number of first-time starters. So I'm looking at either experience in the race, which the 10 and 11 certainly have, or I'm looking for good pedigree, and the 9-horse has the right pedigree by More Than Ready to go to the turf first time out.
10% winner's bonus on the Tail of the Cat today. You can use the Naira Bets app to hit a trifecta in that stake and get that 10% winner's bonus. The app available in the App Store or for Android on NairaBets.com. NairaBets offers a 10% winner's bonus on a selected stake every single day of the meet, so go to NairaBets.com for the full schedule. We're going to take a break in the action. Just getting started on Saratoga Live. Wonder Gadot making her workout debut at Saratoga ahead of the Travers. More next.
Mastery retired undefeated, winning his 4 starts by a combined 20 lengths. A 6-figure September sale purchase, he won impressively in his 2-year-old debut at Santa Anita. From there, he captured the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes and completed his juvenile campaign with a dominant performance in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Futurity. At 3, the top-rated son of Candy Ride sizzled in the San Felipe, running a 105 buyer and winning by open lengths. Mastery, new for 2018 at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets, play in our exclusive promotions, and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NyraBets.com.
Switches back to the outside. Exaggerator down to the 16th pole, but Exaggerator has turned the tables. He has won the Preakness. Unites has won the Travers over American Flag. Irish War Cry has won the Wood Memorial. Alice. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Visit Rivers Casino and Resort, upstate New York's ultimate entertainment destination with live table game action and the hottest new slots paying out millions. Book your luxury waterfront room or suite at upstate New York's premier resort, the Landing Hotel at Rivers Casino and Resort.
Back on Saratoga Live as we're kicking off the weekend here with this Friday action. Quickly becoming one of those popular horses on the backstretch since she has arrived at Saratoga. Wonder Godot, who has won the first two legs of the Canadian Triple Crown, and her connections now believe going to the Travers to face the boys because they don't think Monomoy Girls wrapped up division championship among 3-year-old fillies. They think they still have a shot.
Well, it's a game changer if she runs successfully in the Travers. I mean, Monomoy Girl is the division champion, period. But maybe she'll have to answer to Wonder Godot if indeed she does run well in the Travers. We're watching her breeze this morning. This happened right as the track opened, about 5:30 a.m., and she looks great. Getting over the track really, really well. Hands quiet from the rider. A very, very good gallop out. This is what you want to see, particularly with Saratoga. It's a funny track. Not all horses care for it. Wonder Godot, first time to work over the racetrack. She gets over the track very nicely. I worked a couple of horses this morning as well, and I can tell you the track was not at its fastest. And I went early also. Wonder Godot, an exceptional work.
Here's Mark Cassey on the Wonder Woman's work earlier this morning.
Wonderful. I mean, she was great. So we wanted to go in 48, and she went the first eighth. We got her in like 12 and 4. So our rider, of course, has a radio. So we said, you know, step it up a little. And as soon as he asked her to go, she took off. Probably then she galloped out. She galloped out in 1 minute and 2/5. So she galloped out in 12 and 2 the next eighth of a mile. So, and if you guys were around here, you see she's not tired. By the end of her cooling out, we had to put a lip chain on her to get her to, so she didn't kick anybody. She tends to get a little aggressive. I'm ready. I wish we could do it tomorrow. As a trainer, you're looking for them to handle the new surface, which she pretty well handles every surface, so I wasn't that concerned, but it makes you feel good when you see one bounce over it the way she did. She is in a really good race pattern right now, and so we're not having to train her quite as hard. She also puts a lot into her gallops. If anybody comes and watches her gallop in the morning, she's strong. She's strong. So I don't think she needs to do a whole lot more than she did today.
Here's a look at the contenders for the Travers. And Tom, I love the aggressiveness, too, of these connections. Had Monomoy Girl gone to the Alabama, Wonder Ganot's connections, they would have lined up in that race because they want a shot at her. They want the rematch. But with her not there, they say, let's try and win this thing anyway and beat the boys and make it an argument.
And what about the boys? You know, now that Justify is gone, who takes over? It's so cloudy in that department. Good Magic, a very good Haskell performance, but is it enough to separate him from the rest? These horses are very close in ability, and I love the idea of Wonder Godot trying them at 1.25 miles per distance.
Andy, could we see that canoe painted in the colors of Gary Barber August 25th?
No, it'll be painted a different color. You know, Mark Cassie's saying that Monomoy Girl doesn't have the 3-year-old filly championship wrapped up would be like me sitting here and saying, I still think there's a good chance that I can have a better Major League Baseball career than you, Paul. I mean, it's ridiculous. That one is over. Monomoy Girl has earned it. No disrespect to Wonder Godot. Monomoy Girl has earned it, and she has the eclipse and deserves the championship.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. Now if Wonder Godot was able to beat that field in the Travers, I think a lot of people are underestimating how good that field is.
Yeah,
every one of the entries in there ran first, second, and third in a Triple Crown race. I mean, Bravazzo's in there, Tenfold's in there, Good Magic's in there. I mean, there's some nice 3-year-olds. There's no throwouts.
It makes the race fun, but she's not going to beat the boys in that race, guys.
Push back on that. I mean, when you look at the 3-year-old picture, and I say that training Lone Sailor who ran with that group, it literally was Justify and the rest. I don't care what those other horses have done. He was better than everybody else. Why can't someone step in and take over that spot?
She's proven at 1.25 miles. Those other runners are not. Granted, they're males, but we'll see what happens. We're going to set it downstairs. Paddock Report time with Maggie Wolfendale. It's brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Curlin for $150,000.
Horses making their way from the paddock here, Greg. As Empress of the Nile, she looks fantastic here, but want to talk about a filly who finally broke through last time after some second place finishes as the favorite in number 6 Bengala for trainer Christophe Clement. Now last time I had spoke to him, he was a little bit frustrated by her, and he actually talked to her previous trainer in John Ox in Ireland and said, what can I do different? He said, I used to run her in a hood. Well, they put it on last time and it was successful. Not that Christophe says that she acts like she needs it, but it just helps. She has it on here once again and she looks fantastic. Obviously, we don't think she's going to control because there is the presence of number 7 Lady Joan, whom her part owner in Tony Smith yesterday with with his other horse winning yesterday in the stake. They've always said that they want to try to get her in a route of ground. Now for me, she's expending too much energy pre-race for me to be convinced in her getting this 1 3/8 here on the turf, but she is going to control, as we do see the rider off, Greg, of Empress of the Nile. She was acting up a bit in the paddock too.
Yeah, Jose Ortiz will be on Empress of the Nile. This is our favorite right now for the James Bond barn coming out of the Grade 2 New York. Talk about going against tough company there. 4-star Crook, Sister Charlie, who came back and won the Grade 1 Diana here opening weekend.
Yeah, second to Somersault, the graded stakes winner herself, and 2 starts back. Be interesting to watch her behavior on the racetrack. Maggie said she was acting up a little bit in the paddock. Horses tend to bring their paddock behavior to the starting gate, and that could be a problem for the one Empress of the Nile. I'm looking forward to hearing what Maggie says about her on the track.
Here's another look at her. So Jose Ortiz for the James Bond barn. Empress of the Nile, 3-2.
She is the most accomplished runner on her best races and has a big win at this at Saratoga last year. I still think she's overbet right now.
La Monta Gris for Rusty Arnold. Jose Lezcano in the irons.
Yeah, third time back in Rusty's barn. You know, she just took a little vacation to Santa Anita. She does have a win over the surface, and she's sneakily getting bet. I know the 4 and 5 are scratched, but she's getting played a little.
And the win was at this distance as well. The 3, Violet Blue, Manny Franco for Jimmy Toner.
I think she's the horse to beat and is way under bet right now. She has dramatically improved for Jimmy Toner as a 4-year-old. Her win 2 back was huge, and last time out she ran well in a stakes race with a wide trip.
Bengala for Christophe Clement went gate to wire for a win last time out at 1.25 miles.
I think the other danger in here, especially if the one keeps acting up, this horse has got tactical speed. I understand they went slow. A second to Violent Blue, 2 back. She needs to improve a little bit to beat that rival.
And Lady Joan to round out the field. Luis Saez on board.
She's the speed. She'll need a flatbed to get her home from the quarter pole, in my opinion.
9-2. By Courageous Cat. It was more of a turf miler, but on the bottom side, you have out of a Powers Court mare who got DQ'd out of being a 2-time Arlington Million winner.
Yeah, look, looking at her family, her immediate family, brothers and sisters and mares, it's hard to find any justification that she's going to get the route, but they really just haven't done it, so nothing to disprove it either.
Let's go to Gabby Gaudette for more.
Thank you, Greg. Well, back here at the Saratoga Handicapping Challenge, and I'm with two individuals, Jonathan Kinchin and Jason Avila. Jason, you are in second place. Jonathan, you are out. And I am very curious to hear both of your strategies, but your strategy is kind of a go big or go home.
Yeah, no, I mean, these contests, like, you know, you have a choice. Like, you can be a closer or a front runner. I've always tried to be a front runner in these spots. Get out ahead of people. A lot of these guys in this room are going to wait till the last race. I prefer to not do that. I want to, if I like something early, I'm going to just bet it all, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't, we'll get them tomorrow.
What was the breaking point for you?
I needed the 8 to get beat in the last race, so I used like 4 horses outside of the 8. I ran second and third, and you know, and it happens, right?
Tomorrow's another day, but Jason, you are currently sitting in second. What was your approach today, and what's your approach kind of moving forward?
I'm a little bit similar to Jonathan. I like to go big, but I need to have the opinion to go big. I did have the opinion in the third race, and that's what I did. I went all in. Luckily, the horse won. I sacrificed 2 entries, turned it into 1. But the problem is I don't have a strong opinion moving forward. So now I'm going to take a shot. I'm just trying to figure out where that shot's going to be. And at the same time, I'm up there. So I'm kind of waiting to see what everybody else does.
Flying by the seat of his pants. Jonathan, quickly mention kind of for all of our viewers tuning in how you get involved and what is the easiest way to participate in these contests.
Yeah, the Saratoga contests are actually great. A lot of these contests can be up to $10,000 or $5,000. These are a little bit of a lower price point, $2,000, $1,000. A lot of guys will come to Saratoga and do that anyway. So get involved in this contest, and it seems like it's a daunting task. There's 215 guys, but if you have that day that we've all had and you happen to have it in this room, it can pay off a lot more than you can when you're just sitting in the grandstand.
All right, thank you so much, and best of luck to you, Jason. Guys, we have some rooting interest right now. We got to cheer on Jason.
Absolutely. Wish them all the best. Of course, we had Jonathan Kinchin on our show last week. He's been extremely successful, winner of the National Handicap Championship Tour back in 2015, so he knows how to play those contests. As we close in here on a pick 4 coming up, $361,000 in the pool and growing. You could play along for free and test out your own strategies without risking any of your own money. Go to NYRA.com/showdown. You'll bet on the races on our show, and again, you don't risk any money at all. You just put in your picks, and you're playing for real prizes. That includes a grand prize ticket package to next year's Belmont Stakes coming up. We're taking a look, Tom, here at Empress of the Nile. Still the 8-5 favorite in here. Everyone looks at the grade 2s, the grade 3s this horse has ran in, but you go 2 back when the horse actually had some success. It was a stakes race. She ran second, but the horse who was right behind her, her best win was a $16,000 claiming race. So I don't know how strongly I felt about her being a standout.
Let's talk about that race, 2 back at Gulfstream Park, ridden by Jose Ortiz, who's on her again today. Down the backside in that race, she absolutely takes over the race, makes her move to the front, does it very, very easily. She looks unbeatable turning for home, but she does get caught. To me, that's a sign that maybe she is not as legit as you'd want. We're watching her warm up there. She's a little active in the post parade, but to me, she's acting okay on the track.
So 8-5, Empress of the Nile. She does own a victory here in her only start at Saratoga. That was her maiden win. Here's Violet Blue. It's one for Jimmy Toner, coming out of a stakes race as well at Belmont in the River Memories.
Very, very good race. Her first start of 2018 back on June the 13th. Just absolutely dominated and ran against Bengala in that race, the 6-horse here. Great race that day. Came back in the stake. Maybe bounced a little bit. First start of the year. The other one, I like her today a lot. Violet Blue is a horse to me that's going to get the right setup.
Well, Andy, so Violet Blue handled Bengala 2 starts back by better than 4 lengths. How does Bengala turn the tables today?
She doesn't. I agree with Tom, which is kind of dangerous, and I'm wondering how she's 4-1 and not 6-5 in here, to be honest with you. Her race that day was sensational. She absolutely just smashed the field. Bengala didn't get the best of trips, but she was never beating Violet Blue, and I actually, somewhat, the one thing I disagree with Tom, I don't think, he said she bounced last time. I actually think she ran very well last time. If you watch the last race, the River Memories, all the successful horses in that race saved ground, and they were inside position, while Violet Blue was wide the entire trip around the track and actually ran extremely well to be fourth coming back. And I just think now it's her third start. I actually liked her, Paul, when they entered in the Weah last week. They decided to take this spot and not re-enter in the Weah. I think Violet Blue has found the right field, and she's going to prove better than these horses.
Well, I think she's got the best late punch, right? Doesn't she? I mean, when you look at this field, you look at the one Empress of the Nile. Now, she broke awful in her last start and then just sort of almost dwelt. She just, like, lost interest early. But if you look, she did show speed, but doesn't have a lot of speed. Does the 6 have speed? Yeah, but not a lot of speed. Does the 7 have speed? Yeah, but none of them really have finish besides Violet Blue. And I'm agreeing with you. I don't understand why she's 7-2.
Empress of the Mile can make a middle move here. She was victimized because of a horse that was 15 lengths in front more than anything else last time. As far as Bengala, she walked on the front end and held off Silver Shaker last week, who came back last time, who came back in the last week and didn't do a stitch of running at a short price here. In fact, other horses in that race didn't run well. I question the quality of the field, and I don't know what's going to happen here today that she's supposed to reverse things on Violet Blue, unless you feel as though one of them will like the going today more than the other. Is a good turf course.
I think the only way is, like, does the 7 Lady Joan keep her company enough just to put her away early and let the other ones run, or does the 1 keep on her heels? The 6 is going to have to win this race, and I think the public's thinking the reason why she's second choice is that they think that she's going to get away with a lonely lead. I don't know.
But she's not. I mean, the speed is going to be Lady Joan. The public, to me, is looking at a horse that won last time. I know Maggie has some things to say about Empress of the Nile. Tom thought she was acting better in the racetrack. Maggie, your thoughts?
No. I don't think she is. And when I've seen this filly get wound up, she doesn't quite run her A game. And I'm just saying, not that she can't win here based upon her form, and she could just be better than these. But at 9-5, why do you want a horse that is acting out continuously since she's left the paddock? Jose Ortiz kind of left the group, and then since they've gotten back on the backside and they're trying to keep her quiet, to me, it's unsuccessful. I don't know. Like I said, I just know this filly, and I've seen her behave a bit better than this, as we'll take a look at number 3, Violet Blue, who is carrying all of our weight. I agree with everything that you guys said, and I feel as though now as a 4-year-old, she's just really blossomed into this very good-looking filly, and she is cool as a cucumber out there. Third off the layoff, she looks as though she's thriving here for Jimmy Toner. It's all about Violet Blue for me as well at 7-2, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you very much. So a lot of positives, including all our analysts, just about going with Violet Blue in this spot. Third start of her 4-year-old campaign. Going back to the 1, Tom.
Yeah.
Empress of the Nile, and you see a filly like this starting to act up. I mean, what can that be a result of?
So I don't know her past behavior, but a lot of times it's either high energy, which Maggie knows the filly, and it's obviously not that, or that she's fretting a little bit. She knows what's coming her way, and she's getting a little worried about it. Jose Ortiz, when he was away from the other horses, he had his feet in the irons, and she looked to be settled a little bit, but as soon as she got back with the group, she got very, very nervous and excited again.
And so that means expending energy that she could be saving for the race.
And you only have so much energy in a race.
There's a look at everyone taking all this in the handicapping challenge, with seats on the line to the National Handicapping Championship as well. Good luck to all the participants. That is high pressure in that room right there.
Yeah, they look really, really fretting there. They look like Empress of the Nile, some of those guys.
A little bit. A few washed out.
Yeah, exactly.
When they're down to their last bets and you got to go all in and make a hard decision, it can be difficult. It fascinates me the strategies you have to employ to try and win tournaments like that. It can be a different ball game. Here's Empress of the Nile. So, despite the way she's behaved, she's still the 7-5 favorite.
Yeah, look, I get it. She's got the class of the race, but I do question distance as much as her behavior.
Loading up. There is La Montegris. She's won on this turf course as well at Saratoga. She won here last summer, and it came at 1 mile and 3/8. Same distance as today. She's 3-1 on the board. Wide open, 7th race here to kick off our late pick 4 sequence. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown for the call, Larry Colmus.
Just one left to load here. Lady Joan will take up position in the outside stall under Luis Saez, and they're all in line. They're off. And it is going to be Lady Joan who goes out to the early lead with Bengala. These two Opening up 2.5 lengths from Violet Blue and Lamont Grease. And Empress of the Nile will be last of them all, racing 6 lengths off of Lady Joan and Luis Saez, who take up the early running here. Bengala hard in hand in second. Violet Blue is third. Empress of the Nile pulling Jose Ortiz wide and toward the pacemakers now. Then Lamont Grease on the inside. So they come through the stretch first time round. The initial quarter mile was in 26.33 seconds. And it is Lady Joan in front. Empress of the Nile keen on the outside. She's 3/4 of a length behind. Bengala sits 2 lengths off of them. Then it's Violet Blue and Lamont Grease with 1 lap to go. Lady Joan on top. Empress of the Nile on the outside continues to press in second. Bengala is third, 2 lengths off of them, and 3 clear of Violet Blue. And Lamont Grease is last of this quintet of 4-year-old fillies, 7 lengths off of Lady Joan and Empress of the Nile, who quicken onto the back stretch. These two now, 2.5 lengths in front of Bengala. Violet Blue is next, and Lamont Grease is racing 7 lengths from the front. They continue up the back stretch here, 3/4 up in 1:13.99 seconds for Lady Joan and Empress of the Nile, who are a 1/2 length apart. Bengala tracks them 2 lengths to make up at this stage. Then Violet Blue and Lamont Grease now 8 lengths off of Lady Joan, who's been there all the way so far and heads for the far turn with a 1.5 length lead. Empress of the Nile continues to pursue her and edges up a bit closer once again. 2 lengths back to Bengala running in third. Violet Blue comes under pressure. Lamont Grease still 6 lengths behind. They make their way to the top of the stretch. Lady Joan comes under pressure. Empress of the Nile draws up alongside. The 2 of them turn for home, 1-2. Violet Blue trying to put in a bid down the center. Bengala's down toward the inside. And Lamont Grease, it is still Lady Joan. Lady Joan fending off Empress of the Nile. Violet Blue trying to get involved on the outside, and here she comes. She's moved up into second, and she's heading after Lady Joan, who's holding on. Lady Joan, Violet Blue. Lady Joan, a 1/2 length on the wire. Violet Blue was second. Lamont Grease got third. Empress of the Nile fourth in 2:16.21.
Lady Joan, she didn't break all that sharp either. Still able to get to the front. Keeps on going under Luis Saez.
Greg, pace makes the race with the scratch of the 5-horse. There was no pace. Lady Joan takes some gate to wire. That opening quarter in 26 seconds. I mean, race is over at that stage. I thought the 3-horse that we all like, Violet Blue, ran very, very well, but pace is what got her and got home the winner, Lady Joan, the 7-horse.
I'm going to disagree. I think that she just won the race. I don't think this pace was dramatically slow. You said they went 26. Maybe it's true, but if that's true, they went 23 the second quarter. 1:37.4 for that mile? They're not absolutely walking out there. Violet Blue, I made a huge bet on her. She had absolutely no excuse not to win this race. I'm astounded. I don't think pace made the race. I think the best horse won. I'm just shocked she did it, Paul.
Well, the weird part about it is the one made that middle move to try to quicken up the pace. And, you know, she did a tiny bit. And then Bengala looked like she was sitting there in the perfect spot. And then something might have been a miss because Irad Ortiz Jr. just did not pursue at all. And then in mid-stretch, you thought soon as Manuel Franco went to that right-handed stick, you'd get that extra burst. But was never going by Lady Joan.
I agree. She had every chance to win it, Paul.
Phil Serpy, your winning trainer, getting the job done with Lady Joan at 8-1. Let's go back to the beginning of this race. Lady Joan didn't have a great start. Empress of the Nile, though, the 1, not a great start
Pay
either.
attention to Empress of the Nile. She's going to hit the right side of the gate. Hits it hard enough that Jose Ortiz is going to look over, see if she's okay right there, see how badly she hit that side of the gate. We talked about paddock behavior being carried over to the gate, and that's a perfect example of it. Certainly hurt her start and definitely hurt her position.
But in the end, it's all Lady Joan at 8-1. Dismissed in this race, despite the fact she was going to be controlling speed in the race. How about that? Time to rejoice when you win a race at Saratoga, and that is exactly what Phil Serpy is doing right now. Haley Field Stable and Luis Saez combined for the victory.
That's her coming back right there. And look, ears forward. This is a girl that's proud of the job she's done. When you see those ears flicking back and forth like that, you're looking at a horse that really understands and has a lot of energy left. So she's still waiting for a command. So distance, obviously not a problem here.
Yeah, and you talked a little bit before this race, there were concerns, obviously, that, well, she's not going to like going this long. But when you can control things on the front end like that, any distance okay, right?
Exactly right. You know, look, if you can go the beginning of the race like she did, it makes your job a lot easier on the front end and was never really challenged at any point. Even Empress of the Nile didn't get to her to the point where she had to quicken too much.
7-3, 2-1 finish in here. And Empress of the Nile, by the way, in the end, bet all the way down to even money in this spot.
Yeah, I question her ability to get this distance. She had great position and just couldn't finish up.
So Lady Joan, Paula Duca, 8-1 here to kick off this late pick 4.
Yeah, you know, I always like to look at the form in racing form. I did not like Lady Joan, but then when you go back and you look at it, every time, look at her races. Last time she was battling head-to-head, but look at every time she's been clear more than a half a length when she's turned for home or a length. It's been a W, guys. If she's left alone on the lead, it just shows you what Tom was saying earlier. She got courageous.
So she gets it done here, racks up the 5th win of her career. All those coming on the turf, and daughter of Courageous Cat can get the distance in here in this spot. Allowed to do it on the front end, and Luis Saez again aboard for that winning ride, having a tremendous meeting here, currently in 2nd place in the jockey standings to $18.20. That will play large in the Naira Bets late pick 5. So Lady Joan, Hillyfield Stable, Phil Serpig, Luis Saez. Your winning connections and a job well done. She does it every step of the way out in front. It was Zonik who started things off in this Naira Bets late pick 5. $183,000 the pool this afternoon. And Lady Joan, again, this is going to play very, very big. I know it was only a 5-horse field in here, but that's not quite a few people out.
Yeah, look, 5-horse fields, that's when you really have to pay attention to pace in a race. There's only so many participants that can make it happen or not make it happen. And for our winner, Lady Joan, no one wanted to challenge her early.
These races become so clear to me after they finish. It's amazing.
So you learn from them, right? As a handicapper, you learn and you move forward.
Absolutely. And it really, yeah, we talk about it a lot, actually. These compact fields do become riders' races. And in this case, Luis Saez said get to the front. Keep on going. Let's go downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale with more.
Let's go, Yankees.
Thank you. And Phil Serpy, jacked up here. I like it. I like the energy that you bring forth, especially having 2 sisters win on back-to-back days.
It's incredible because, like I said about Goodbye Broccoli yesterday, you know, we've had like the whole family, and it just means so much. And to win any race here is incredible, and never mind a race like this. And you know, when she opened up again on Jim Bond's horse, I knew, you know, she's got that determination in the stretch. She never really gives it up, and she's just an incredible little filly. She's about half the size of her sister, too. She's like a foot shorter than her son.
She is on the small side. But, Tony, you called it yesterday. You said when I talked to you about Goodbye Broccoli that Lady Joan has been crying out for more ground. She got it today, and she got it emphatically.
And what a great ride. When he went out like that, just kept on going. You know, it was fantastic. Great ride, lovely horse.
And you guys have had a lot of luck with Luis Saez, especially at this meet. And Phil, you look at her races, and when she gets out on the front end left alone, she becomes brave. And she just kind of, as you said, she's on the small side, but it seems as though she grows a foot.
You know, she does, but I have to tell you, she's just got so much determination that even in her losses, she runs great races. I'm not sure. I think like the worst she's ever run for us is like 4th or something like that, coming off a layoff this year, and she came back and won after that. And she's just an incredible little filly. She's just got so much determination in her.
And he's a great trainer as well, by the way.
He's killing it at this meet, I must say. But quickly, Tony, any more progeny out of Lady Wellcourt?
Yes, we have 2 more. We have a yearling, and we have one that's just born, just a weanling.
Oh, this is exciting. What a mare for you guys.
Every year for the next 6 years.
Winning races up here at the spa. This is quite a family here, and good to see these connections back in the winner's circle, Greg.
Yeah, having a nice little run over the last couple of days. Hillyfield Stable, Lady Joan, proven a mile and 3/8, not a problem. Getting the job done, her first try at this distance here. Let's set up race 8. It'll be on the turf as well at a mile and a 16th. $40,000 claiming race for horses who have not won 2 lifetime. And we're going to see Chad Brown with Theater in the Round. open up as the favorite here. Jose Ortiz will be aboard the 9-horse here. We'll talk plenty more about this field coming up. Appears to be a very wide open group. Well, we saw the Saratoga sale earlier this week have a record 2-day run. Now it's the New York Breds' turn, and what a weekend it was as well here at Saratoga for New York Breds. They, of course, proven they can win at the highest level. Diversify, Mind Your Biscuits running 1-2 in the Whitney. Here is Tracy Egan with a preview of this weekend's sale.
$1 million. Flashback to Monday night at Fasig-Tipton, where New York breeder Joanne Nielsen sold her New York-bred American Pharaoh colt for a cool $1 million.
Definitely time for a celebration.
Her colt was one of 14 American Pharaohs offered in the select sale, but there's just one yearling by the Triple Crown winner in this weekend's New York-bred yearling sale. In fact, 80% of the yearlings cataloged for this sale are by Kentucky sires. That means if you're by a New York sire, you have to have a lot going for you. And potential buyers were reminded last Monday that New York stallions Freud and Mission Impassable get a lot of runners on the NYRA circuit and win on all kinds of surfaces.
Freud, a Mission, and another Freud, 1, 2, 3, and our Stallion Stakes, so it was really exciting.
New York sire Central Banker received a boost to his blossoming reputation when the freshman sire had 2 two-year-old winners in 1 week at the Spa.
2 of his winners won first time out by open links. He's looking good. He's looking good.
In order to make it into this sale, the yearling must have a very good pedigree, excellent conformation, and receive a thumbs up from the sales company's inspector, as did this son of Micromanage.
Peter Penny looked at the horse and goes, this is an outstanding colt. He's going to run.
Fasig-Tipton's president says every buyer should consider having a New York bred.
New York breds can compete at the highest levels, and you see Biscuits win in Dubai. You see Diversify now with 2 Grade 1 wins. I mean, it's just a testament and a tribute to the quality of horses being raised in New York.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York sired New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a second time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close second in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires, 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes, and world record setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
into the stretch. Sassy little Lila. Fowler rocks. World approval. Time test on the outside, and Disco Partner trying to come on too. World approval takes the lead, a furlong out. It is World approval in front. Fowler rocks. Time test on the outside. Now moving up into second, but World approval's got it. World approval in the 4-star Dave.
So that was last year. World approval. Mark Cassidy, Live Oak Plantation, shortening this horse up in distance because Mark Cassidy, the trainer, says this is a horse that likes a target. And I don't know if this is the actual reason why I put Manny Franco on this horse, but he said to his son, Norm, he goes, we're going to win the race, but I don't have a jockey. Julian Leperoux was out of town riding the Arlington Million. He saw the jockey basketball charity game the week earlier, and Manny Franco, he said, had so much athletic ability, he put him on the horse. I believe that's the reason he used him.
You know, he said we're going to win a race. He said, hey, we're going to win a grade 1.
How about
but
that?
We need a jockey.
And that was Manny,
those words would never come from my mouth.
Manny Franco's first grade 1 at Saratoga, by the way. Coming last year in this race. Here's a look at this year's field. It comes up tomorrow. The 4-star Dave, Yoshida. Hall of Famer Bill Mott sends that one out, and Manny Franco looking to go back-to-back in the race.
He is indeed. How about Yoshida, another one that's gone overseas and now is coming back, making first start back in the United States since June. It's a tough thing to do. Heart-to-heart, the speed of the race, uses that speed to break the hearts of everyone, but not his own.
Is he quick enough to get the lead, though, from Voodoo Song?
And that's a problem, right? In the draw, Voodoo Song is drawn right outside of him. And if Voodoo Song is breathing on heart-to-heart early in the race, it's time to look elsewhere for your win bet.
Meanwhile, Andy Serling, Yoshida coming back from across the pond, running in the Queen Anne. And when we last saw him here in the States on a yielding turf course at Churchill Down, he looked very good.
Yeah, he's a wonderful racehorse. It was, in my mind, a mistake to go over to Ascot for a race they couldn't win, and he probably should run in the Manhattan, but he's back in the right race this time. And I don't believe that Voodoo Song and Heart to Heart are going to duel. I think that Voodoo Song's going to go to the lead in Heart to Heart. They think they can rate, and they can, but I think that takes a little of the starch out of Heart to Heart. And Yoshida and even Made You Look are the better horses in here. I prefer those two.
Yeah, I can see where you're going. I mean, this is a crazy race, considering it's only 7 horses in here, guys. Probably 6, obviously, with Weekend Hideaway being the main track only. You have Devizadero in here, who a lot of people, it might be your longest shot on the board. Shows 10 buyers up there. 2 of them aren't 100. And when you look at Heart to Heart, shows 10 buyers up there. 1 of them aren't 100. Just shows you the quality of the field.
No, it's a talented field. It's a grade 1. I feel as though Heart to Heart, while he can rate and run well, he's a better horse when he can control. And they're not getting into a duel with Voodoo Song. I don't think Voodoo Song's good enough to win. He was able to walk on the lead in the Forbidden Apple. I think Made You Look is an improving horse, but Yoshida, Greg, in my opinion, is simply the horse to beat.
3-1 on the morning line. Well, Brian Lynch seems to think Heart to Heart has the ability to rate. We'll see if that can take place tomorrow.
Well, Brian Lynch and Andy Serling are going to have to show me where Heart to Heart has rated well and run a good race. I don't see it. Competitive, yes. Winning, no way. This horse wants and needs the front end to run his best.
He's incredibly gotten better as he's gotten older and older. Now a 7-year-old, as good as he's ever been. We're going to take a break in the action. We'll be back with more Saratoga Live right after this.
Grade 1 winner Data Link by world-renowned sire Warfront. Data Link scored in the prestigious Grade 1 Makers 46 mile at Keeneland, then set a new course record in the Grade 2 Monmouth Stakes. His runners include stakes winner Saratoga, along with a growing list of talented young runners. At public auction, his yearlings have sold up to $200,000. Data Link, standing at Claiborne Park.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushers out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Off the turn with a link to the half lead. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Dramatic finish. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Back on Saratoga Live. You can come to the racetrack and do some painting as well while you're sipping some champagne. Paint and sip at the Whitney Suites. Includes admission, art supplies, snacks, and a race day program. Paint me up some winners. That's what I'm talking about.
That's crazy. I need to do a lot of things here. I did not know that was one of them.
I did not either. Our show each and every day brought to you in part by the incredible sprinter Run Happy. Of course, right here at Saratoga, won the King's Bishop from an outside post, went gate to wire in that race in a stakes record time that was just 14/100ths off the track record in what would be his first graded stakes victory. His offspring coming to a racetrack near you in 2020.
Well, if you want to paint a champion, paint Run Happy. He is beautiful. I want one of his babies. They're selling this year as yearlings.
Very exciting time. Can't wait to see them on the racetrack. We have our 8th race coming up. We're approaching the 10-minute mark to post, so we are going to check in with Maggie Wolfendale. It's time for a paddock report brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Byron for $15,000. Maggie?
Thanks, Greg. And horses are on the walking ring here as we'll check in with a horse who is coming back to New York here. And this time around, though, it's for trainer Jorge Abreu, who is having a pretty nice meet up here at the spa. Number 6 is She Doesn't Mind. And the last time I had seen her is going back to 2 years ago in 2016. And she didn't look the same. She looks 10 times better than what she does here today. She's really filled out her frame. She's well muscled. Obviously, there's been some issues that have affected her and her overall talent and her time at the races. But boy, do I like what I see here from She Doesn't Mind, as she does show up for a tag for the first time in her career. Number 7 is Cause Me Grief for Pat Reynolds and owner Robert Amendola. And it's tough to claim off Wesley Ward, but they've done it successfully here with with another horse that they claimed. And Cause Me Grief, I mean, she steps up a little bit, but not really. I mean, it's kind of a lateral move, those 32s for the straight 3-year-olds against these non-2 lifes for 40. They're almost nearly the same types of races. She looks great here, and we'll see if Pat Reynolds can work his magic here once again with Cause Me Grief, as we'll check in with Andy and Paul over on the paddock set.
The favorite in this race is likely to end up in his right now, the 9 Theater in the round for Chad Brown and Klarovich, currently leading owners. They're dropping. This is not, Paul, to me, a drop for a win, as much as it is a realistic drop. This horse is not going to win a non-winners one New York bred race, to be honest with me. I'm just not her biggest fan. Could she win? I guess. I just don't think she's that good.
Yeah, you can make a case. She's been betting all 3 of her starts. She hasn't been the favorite. She's been the second choice in all 3, and there's that stat, 22%. When he does make this move. When you look at all these fillies in here, a lot of them have sort of underachieved. They've been bet a little bit, and none of them have really done much, especially the outside fillies in here, the 7, 8, 9. I mean, the 7 opened up her career at Turfway Park, where she was odds-on twice.
Yeah, going to the 6, She Doesn't Mind, a horse that you and I are both interested in, Maggie talked about. I think this is the right drop for a horse who's been getting the wrong trips in her races. And I know she's obviously not the horse she once was. And she was Chad Brown. She's Grand Motion. But I think Jorge Abreu's having a terrific meet and is underrated. She's a very viable price play in here.
Yeah, I think she is, too, at 7-1. That race off that long layoff was good at Tampa. Let's not forget Jorge Abreu probably had his hands on this mare before, considering he was one of Chad's assistants when the horse was in the barn in 2016.
Good point, Paul.
Post parade here coming up for the 8th, and we're going to kick things off with Quest Tech, the one who we'll see here momentarily. And there's Quest Tech. John Toscano Jr. trains, Jose Lezcano aboard.
She draws very well on the inside. She comes off a very good effort. She's 1 for 22. That's the problem with her winning, but she is absolutely a player here.
Little Nanny, 28-1. Mike Luzzi will be aboard for Gary Siaka.
Not a bad race, 2 back, and seems like she's improved in her last 2 starts. And then 27-1, she broke a little slow. She needs to make bread at her day.
Discreet Image, 13-1, trained by David Donk with Joel Rosario.
She may be the speed of the speed in a race that, at least on paper, appears to have an honest pace.
Alley to Cavalry, a 3-year-old filly coming off a 3rd-place performance at Belmont for Joe Lestrita.
Yeah, the 4, the 7, and the 2 are the 3-year-old fillies in this race. And this horse can improve in here. It could be a live long shot.
John Velasquez still off his mounts with that ankle sprain. He'll be back in business, though, for Arlington Million Day in Chicago. Irad Ortiz aboard front row. Debbie here filling in for him for Dale Romans.
Her Gulfstream form is fast enough to win it. Her recent form is not.
She doesn't mind the 6, Jorge Abreu, Manny Franco, the guys we're just talking about.
Yeah, you're getting your price at 7-1, and you're getting a hot Manny Franco.
Cause Me Grief, the 7, just claimed by Patrick Reynolds and Javier Castellano rides.
Very sharp owner-trainer combination. They had success in New York with a horse they claimed from Wesley Ward, just like they claimed this horse.
Cat O' Mine definitely can make a case for this one here at 5-1 with Junior Alvarado for Bill Mott.
Yeah, you know, the maiden breaker was a good one from the outside post when she was able to rate when the blinker's on. I wonder what she's going to do today if they're going to use that early speed.
Theater in the round. The 9, still our favorite, trained by the meet's leading trainer, Chad Brown. Jose Ortiz rides.
More the favorite because of connections, jockey and trainer, than actual ability on the racetrack. She's overbet.
Caitlin's at the bar. The 11 we'll see next. Luis Reyes for Bruce Brown.
Why didn't you tell me earlier, Greg? I'd have gone there before.
You're buying drinks, Andy. Let me know. I'll go anytime. Emerald Quality. 38-1. Pablo Fragoso and Patrick Kelly off. Sorry, moving to the Patrick Kelly barn.
Yeah, second time in the Patty Kelly barn. They put blinkers on this Phillies 4-back. She was 75-1 today, so half that price.
We're going to take a break. We're 5 minutes away. A wide open 8th race on the turf when we come back on Saratoga Live.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 4 millionaires, including Claiborne Farm stallion Lee. Recent top runners include 4-time graded stakes winner Miss Sky Warrior, 3-time graded stakes winner Sharp Samurai, multiple stakes winner Bal Harbor, and Dubai Group 3 winner Shamal Nibras. Last year, his 2-year-old sold up to $540,000, while his yearlings fetched up to a whopping $575,000. First Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm. His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome to Saratoga Live. We're getting set for race 8 coming up here on a gorgeous Friday afternoon in Saratoga Springs at the premier race meet in the entire country. Our feature race still to come. That is the Tail of the Cat with some very talented sprinters ahead, including my boy Tate, who's reeled off 5 consecutive victories, though. This race coming up, mile and a 16th on the turf, non-winners at 2 lifetime claiming race, and She Doesn't Mind Tom, the 6-horse, trained by Jorge Abreu as Manny Franco aboard.
Look, there's a lot of things about the 6 She Doesn't Mind that you would put in the negative column. Only 9 starts, and she's a 5-year-old mare, dropping in for a claim the first time. But on the positive side, let's take a look at those works underneath her form, and you'll notice that 2 of them, more recently, have been on the dirt course. As a trainer, if you have a fragile horse and their surface is turf, you are not going to be working them over the dirt course. The fact that Georgie has gone and worked over the dirt course with this horse is a stamp that this horse is ready to go, and he's not having trouble with her in a physical standpoint. So I look at the drop-in for Claim as a positive and a chance to win a race here.
And she obviously had some ability back when she was running like a couple of years ago. She was at stakes races and running very good. Second, third against On Leave, who we know very well on this show, as we take a look here at the favorite. Theater in the round. And obviously Chad Brown sending out a filly with some kind of ability in a race is always going to get attention.
Yeah, look, she's pace dependent. She needs some pace in the race, in a race that may or may not have it. So that's a negative for her. But what about her one win? The second place horse that she barely beat to the wire, Spring Drama, has come back and run twice. Hasn't run any good. And Theater in the Round showed absolutely no gallop out when she hit the wire. She was finished after that race.
So 2-1 on perhaps a vulnerable favorite coming up here. That's a look at the 5. Front row Debbie, Irad Ortiz Jr. filling in for John Velasquez out with that injured ankle. Let's go to Gabby Gaudet for more.
Thank you, Greg. Well, I'm here with the owner of Front Row Debbie, Mr. Bob Barron, and I know that you and Dale have been friends for quite some time. What's that owner-trainer relationship like?
I think we're friends before he's a trainer-owner type of relationship. We talk about everything. We buy our horses together. I come up to the barn just practically every morning, and we ride around together. It makes the horse racing a lot more special. You could have a friend on the backside.
Absolutely. You're also the owner of Promises Fulfilled, an amazing win in the Amsterdam. What has been the experience with this horse, both taking him to the Derby and both the victory last time out in the Amsterdam?
Well, the Derby was exciting because we took our entire family. We took all our kids and spouses and our 10 grandchildren, and everybody went, and we had a ball at the Kentucky Derby. Never believed you're ever going to get there when you buy a horse. And I think what I liked about the Amsterdam Or is the horse got some credit because I think he's just the horse is still coming on. I don't think he's reached his potential yet. Like Dale said it best, he says he's going from being a boy to a man, and I'm going to enjoy seeing that progression. So I was just kind of fulfilling for the horse to have that kind of win. And get a little respect.
Well, we're definitely rooting for you for Promises Fulfilled going forward, a horse that shows a lot of talent and heart. And best of luck here with Front Row Debbie.
Thank you. And I understand you picked the horse. Is that right?
I did. I don't know if that's good or bad, Greg, but he's right. Front Row Debbie.
There's Front Row Debbie, right?
And Front Row Debbie is right there, too. So come on. We got to root for Front Row Debbie. Back to you.
Oh, that's great to get a shot of the person that this 5-year-old man actually was named after. That's tremendous. Took 17 starts for this daughter of Pleasantly Perfect to finally get that first win.
It did indeed. 21 starts, lifetime, 1 win, has tried this level, even a little bit lower. This is a mare that's had a lot of opportunities and hasn't gotten it done.
Double digits right now on the board, 10-1. But favorite remains Theater in the Round, making career start number 4. I guess the positive side here is that in this non-winners at 2 condition, she hasn't had a ton of starts.
She hasn't had a ton of starts, and the formula has worked a bunch. Chad Brown on the drop for Klarovich, long on the grass. We've seen this work many, many times here at Saratoga.
Talking about the 9, the favorite, Theater in the Round. Another look, though, it's Front Row Debbie. Gabby just talked to the connections of this 5-year-old mare, trained by Dale Romans. And since she has broke her maiden, she found it pretty tough going against winners to this point. We'll see if that changes here this afternoon. Very competitive 8th race here coming up. 1.16 on the turf. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York Racing for the call. Here's Larry Colmus.
Here's Theater in the Round, now moving into the starting gate at 2-1 odds. The favorite under Jose Ortiz. Alley to Calvary has moved in. Here's Front Row Debbie taking her spot in the starting gate with Caitlin's at the bar, and the last one to load will be Emerald Quality, who comes up to the outside stall and goes in. They're all in line. They're off, and not a good start at all for the favorite Theater in the Round. She hopped in the air at the break and has been left behind the field. Alley to Calvary goes out to the early lead. Discreet Image away running in second. Caitlin's at the bar is third. Emerald Quality goes into that turn a bit wide as they make their way into the clubhouse turn. And there on the outside goes Emerald Quality to go up and grab the lead. Alley to Calvary is second. Caitlin's at the bar is third. Discreet Image in a bit tight and a bit hard to handle there as they make their way toward the backstretch. She Doesn't Mind is next. A length farther back to Front Row Debbie, and then it's Cause Me Grief, followed by Cato Mine to the outside as they continue up the backstretch. A length and a half farther back, and then it's Little Nanny Questec along the inside. And after that beginning, Theater in the Round at the back of the pack, 23.99. The initial quarter here for front-running Emerald Quality and Pablo Fragoso, who head up the backstretch at a long price and ran a half in 49.06 seconds. Caitlin's at the bar is second. She Doesn't Mind on the outside is third, moving for the turn. Alley to Calvary, fourth on the inside of Cato Mine. Discreet Images after that. Cause Me Grief is still about 6.5 lengths off the lead. Theater in the Round is going 4 wide and just past a few horses as they make their way around the far turn and is making a strong and steady bid, but will have to recover from that start as they make their way toward the top of the stretch. She Doesn't Mind comes up 3 wide. Caitlin at the bar is next. On the inside, Emerald Quality, these 3, and here's Theater in the Round, and she's looped up on the far outside to join the fray with a furlong to run. Theater in the Round on the outside. She Doesn't Mind battles her inside the final furlong. Front Row Debbie has made progress down the center of the course. It's Theater in the Round. She Doesn't Mind battling all the way down to the wire. Theater in the Round, a half length on the wire. And then it was She Doesn't Mind second. Cause Me Grief edged out Front Row Debbie for third in 1:43.44.
Even when that man's unlucky, it doesn't matter. He's still hard to beat. Chad Brown, leading trainer at the meet, Theater in the Round, broke dead last, spotted this field tons of ground, and still rallies to win.
No, she was the best horse in the race by a country mile. Sometimes bad luck can be good luck. The pace looks pretty rapid. It's very crowded to the first turn. Theater in the Round just sits back, bides time, just circles everyone, runs away with the race.
I agree with Tom. Yeah, I'd love to have a long discussion of necessarily who was absolutely best because, and I think Tom will agree, the 6 ran very, very well, being wide the whole way and forcing and everything, but how do you not think a horse that gets left 4 lengths behind the field, Paul, and circles the field? The other thing is it's like nobody else ran besides the first 2 finishers here.
Yeah, it's uncanny. It really is. I've never seen a trainer, you know, when Tom mentioned breaking last, the one guy you're not worried about when they break last is Chad, because he teaches them to sit back and make that one run. Obviously, you don't want to spot the field 6 lengths, but, man, this filly just ran right by him. And the 6, great pick by Tom, pick by all of us. We were all over the 6. We put all the weight, but she ran her race.
But, you know, She Doesn't Mind ran very, very well, and I want to hear what Tom has to say about it as well. I wouldn't have bet her at 5-2, though, Tom.
No, and you know what? She had every chance. Turning for home, Andy, I know you watch a race just like I do. She was sitting and just waiting to be asked. They called upon her. She just got outrun.
Yeah, she did. She did. I mean, the best horse won the race.
The best horse won the race. I think the 6 ran very well in the context of the race, but you can't deny the 9 was best in here. There's no strong argument against it.
Theater in the Round looked a little bit like Sister Charlie in this spot. Another filly from the Chad Brown barn is going to be at Arlington this weekend. We're going to take a break. Prices when we come back.
This successful son of AP Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast, a multiple Grade 1 winner and runner-up in the $16 million Pegasus World Cup. This year, Flatter is adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record at stud. In the auction ring, Flatter topped the 2018 Fasig-Tipton July seal with a $520,000 yearling. Success on the track, success in the ring. Flatter, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Off the turn with a length and a half lead. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Bayern turning for home in front. Coast of New York on the outside. California Chrome is third. Shared Belief, laboring veteran fifth. 1 furlong to run. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome on the outside. The 3 of them come to the wire. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome. Here's the finish. Bayern holds on.
Welcome back to Saratoga Live, and here in the winner's circle with trainer Chad Brown, sending out Theater in the round. Another day at the spa, another win for trainer Chad Brown, but things didn't get off to a great start with this horse today, did they?
No, I was too happy with the start. She just lunged and gave herself a lot to do, and I thought Jose used really good judgment, knowing he was on probably much the best, and after saving so much ground on the first turn and last, he just put her in the center of the track and made a move you normally don't want to make in turf racing unless you have much the best, and it was the right decision today.
Looking forward to tomorrow in the 4-star Dave. Competitive field, but lots of speed signed on. Do you think that gives your horse Made You look a little bit of an advantage?
I don't know if he has an advantage. It's a tough field, and he needs to step up here, but it gives him a chance in a really tough field. If it sets up for him and he's saving ground the whole way and he can make the last move in the race, he might be right there.
Chad, talk about the meet just in general and how it's going for you. Everywhere we turn, there's another horse in the winner's circle. The confidence in kind of starting a meet like this.
Well, you have to have the horses, ready, and we have a good group of horses, and then you have to have an unbelievable large staff of talented co-workers, which I have, and it's just so many hours to put into this, and it's flattering to hear that you see us so many times in the winner's circle, but so many hours go into just each win. Up Saratoga, there's no easy spots. As you can see today, you can enter and be much the best, and in a minute, or in a second, you could be far behind. So much appreciation from my staff, and they deserve the credit.
Of course. Well, congratulations on this one, Chad.
Thank you.
Greg, you hear it there. Teamwork makes the dream work.
You're only as good as your staff, but that barn, reigning Eclipse Award champion, Chad Brown, I mean, he's headed towards a Hall of Fame career.
Oh, yeah, he is. And think about it. How many races does he actually play against himself? Because he's got more than one in the race, and yet his percentage is as strong as anyone's in the nation, and he's competing at the highest level. That is very impressive.
Theater of the round did not get out well at all. Spotted the field a country mile, it seemed like, and circled them for the win. As we take a look at the Naira Bets late pick 5 follow along, 183,000 in that pool. And Theater in the round did go off the favorite, gets the win with that big price of Lady Joan back in that 7th race, and still a long way to go, however, in this sequence. But with that one price in there, already heading to a nice payoff if you're still alive here in this sequence.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be tasty. She'll make it that way, that winner.
We talk about it all the time. You got to get involved. Naira Bets late pick 5. It is the best play in the game. The only way to play it if you do not reside in the state of New York with Naira Bets. Get signed up, started, play with Naira Bets, and of course on Saturdays, if you're the only winning ticket, $300,000 minimum single ticket payout. Feature race is coming up next. It is the Tail of the Cat, and everybody wants to see it. My boy Tate trying to win a 6th consecutive victory. The win streak, of course, began here at Saratoga last summer for trainer Michelle Nevin. This horse has been very, very good at Aqueduct now. Can this horse win at the toughest test of his career coming up?
Yeah, no, he has been very, very good. Maybe the layoff back from February to now has a little bit of vulnerability for our favorite, My Boy Tate. But how about the price of the two, Mr. Crow and our outside horse, Always Sunshine, the 5? Money showing on those two horses. Looking at their past performance, that makes me scratch my head a little bit.
Always Sunshine, that was a monster win at Delaware last time out. Again, he followed up here at Saratoga. We're going to take a break. For 8 straight summers, 4-star Dave won at least one race here at Saratoga. We'll have his story when we come back.
Visit Rivers Casino and Resort, upstate New York's ultimate entertainment destination, with live table game action and the hottest new slots paying out millions. Book your luxury waterfront room or suite at upstate New York's premier resort, the Landing Hotel at Rivers Casino and Resort.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Brunches out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NyraBets.com.
Tail of the Cat coming to the top of the 43-2 for the half mile. Almost impossible pace here. Tail of the Cat turning for home with the lead. Sensational fraction. And the rail has opened up for Oro de Mexico. And Julie Crone goes to work on Tail of the Cat, who flashes past the 8th pole with a 2-length lead. Oro de Mexico is second. It's 5 lengths back to the rest of them. Coming down to the finish, Tail of the Cat, sensational in victory at the Spa. Here's the wire. The time 1:21.3, winning by 4 lengths.
Julie Crone aboard for that victory for the best horse that John Forbes Jr. ever trained, earned a 113 buyer for this dominating performance.
Big time race here by Tail of the Cat. And he went on to be a very, very successful sire. Sired horses that run at all distances.
That was just 3 weeks after running 4th in the Haskell. Came back and just romped in the King's Bishop. 5 career victories. Son of Stormcat. Look at the resume there. And the race in his honor. Coming up next, and it is a very competitive sprint, just a 5-horse field, but you can make a case for every single runner you're going to see here lining up in this 9th race ahead. But the favorite, 6-5 on the board, My Boy Tate, again, has reeled off 5 consecutive wins. It started with a win at Saratoga. Manny Franco back on board after Dylan Davis had ridden this 4-year-old son of boys at Toscanova the last couple of starts.
Yeah, deserving favorite in this race. You know, he doesn't always break that well. Didn't last time when he won on February the 19th. From this one hole, if he gets that happens again and this field crowds him, he could have a problem.
10% winners bonus trifecta coming up on the Tail of the Cat Stakes. The app available in the App Store for Android on NyraBets.com. That's where you can play it. NyraBets offers a 10% winners bonus on a selected stake every day of the meet. Go to NyraBets.com to see the full schedule. There's a look at My Boy Tate. And let's take a look at the most recent performance. It's been tough gauge on how good this horse is and where this horse will be on a fast main track, as the last 3 starts have all come on muddy or good tracks, including this one in the Holly Hughes.
Yeah, this was a race where My Boy Tate did not break that well, had to sit and came around and just showed he's much the best.
So 3 consecutive starts on off tracks, all wins, and you can see just keeps on coming here in the stretch to get the job done. He was 1-2 in this race, though. He was supposed to get this win. This will be a much tougher test today.
It will be indeed. Now, this race is restricted to horses that haven't won a graded stake this year. My boy Tate has won plenty of stakes, 2 to be precise, but not a graded stake, so he slips in the condition.
So we'll see if that win streak can continue. Again, he's been off since that performance. That was all the way back on February the 19th. One of his challengers here, Silver Ride. He went to the bench for just over a year, and his comeback effort was sensational at Belmont.
It was sensational. Another horse that didn't break that well on that day on June the 22nd, but not only recovered quickly, got involved in the pace. So he had to go really quick that opening quarter, and despite doing that, still was able to run down this field off a layoff of over a year. Now, can he put it together 2 races in a row? He's shown that his races don't always come back-to-back year after year, but I like the way he trains, and I like that bullet work, fastest of the day, here at Belmont on the 30th of July, 1 minute and 4/5. A sharp move.
Let's go downstairs to Andy for more.
I have a question, actually, I really would like to ask Tom Amos. As a trainer, Tom, my boy Tate, he's undefeated sprinting. He breaks his maiden last August at Saratoga, and he's off for almost exactly 3 months. And in a very short period of time, 3 races, he dramatically improves and wins 4 big races, and then they stop on him. Now, I don't know that he had an issue. Maybe they just wanted to give him a little bit of time. He wasn't off that long. What do you do as a trainer? Why would you stop on a horse like that? And can you get him back to that form readily off the layoff, or do they sometimes need a start or 2?
Yeah, well, each horse is an individual, and I don't know what his layoff was, Andy, but when you're looking to see whether that's possible, I'm always judging if they've had any layoffs in the past and how well they've done off that layoff. In this case, my boy Tate has shown he can come off a layoff and win. So, to me, it's a non-factor in today's race.
Time for a paddock report. We're going to check in with Maggie Wolfedale. It's brought to you by Hillendale Farm. Now standing Curlin for $150,000.
And Greg, we'll actually start by talking about the layoff runner and your current 7-5 favorite in number 1, My Boy Tate. Now, as far as things that I've read, Michelle Nevin stating that he's just not a very good doer. It's tough to keep weight on him, so she figured she would stop. Now, whether he had some minor issues, maybe, but I totally agree with her. I mean, because every time she brought him over, despite whatever effort he was coming off of, he never looked that good. But boy, time away has done him well. This is the best I have ever seen My Boy Tate look. Now, it's hard to think that he can still improve after those consecutive wins, and he kept getting faster as far as his speed figure was concerned in each and every one of them. But, I mean, this is the first time that I really like what I'm seeing, and furthermore, he looks fit coming back. He's dappled head to toe, which the last time I'd seen him, it was going into winter, so his coat was a bit long and wispy and dull looking. He's dappled, like I said, and I just think My Boy Tate is back to his good self, and if not better, which might be a little scary. But we're talking about a long layoff, and we're talking about a short layoff. 13 days since we've seen number 2, Mr. Crow, as he took part in the Grade 1 Vanderbilt, which was dominated by Imperial Hint. And I thought he didn't run that badly. He was attending a pace in which Imperial Hint sat off of. And look, Ben Colebrook, his trainer, saying he left him here, could not pass up taking advantage of this spot here, which is a restricted stakes. And you look at horses coming off somewhat short rest, this guy has not lost an ounce of weight as far as I can work out. His weight looks tremendous here. Energy is exactly what it was going into that that Vanderbilt. So I think Mr. Crow, he's your second choice right now, but from what I can work out here in the paddock, deservedly so, Greg.
Well, keep in mind, yeah, he loves this racetrack. He has 2 victories here. Granted, they came last year, but he's coming out of a Grade 1 that was not just any old, well, Grade 1, it's a top level of competition, but still Imperial Hint's performance that day, that was a lights-out, star-making performance.
Yeah, so he ran behind the probable favorite in the Breeders' Cup of Imperial Hint, keeps up his form through November, and, you know, getting beat 8 lengths in a Grade 1, I understand why they're trying this spot, but they're coming back so quick. It makes me very nervous.
On the positive side, Maggie says, looks like he hasn't lost much weight at all. We'll see what happens. Tail of the Cat Our feature race is coming up next. Stay tuned.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a link to the half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200.
Dramatic finish.
Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
This is Saratoga Live. Thanks for stopping in. Beautiful Friday afternoon here. And our feature race is coming up. The Tail of the Cat is next. 5 very accomplished sprinters going head-to-head. Our show brought to you by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Time for our post-parade, and we start things off with a horse who's reeled off 5 consecutive victories here. My boy Tate for Little Red Feather Racing, trained by Michelle Nevin with Manny Franco.
Looking to go undefeated, 6 for 6 in sprint races. Finds himself in a tough position off a 6-month layoff.
Mr. Crow, he absolutely freaked here last summer as a 3-year-old to get his maiden win in career start number 2. Jose Ortiz aboard for Ben Colebrook.
Yeah, he looked like a superstar in the beginning of his career, but I agree with Maggie's assessment that this horse ran a decent race last time out.
Silver Ride came off a year's layoff to win impressively for Brian Lynch. Luis Saez aboard.
He's going to have to step up again and do it, but I like a horse who's coming off a very good recent effort.
Pop the Hood, the 4 trained by Rodrigo Ubillo. Abel Lizcano aboard, another one coming off a win.
Yeah, the best win was over a sloppy racetrack, but you're right. Comes off a nice little win where he's able to stock and grind away the winner, or the second-place finisher, excuse me.
And Always Sunshine comes in from Delaware off a stakes victory last start. For Ned Allard with Frankie Pennington.
It's in great career form, draws well towards the outside, a major player.
5-2 on the board on Always Sunshine, who owns 7 career victories. As we send it back downstairs to Andy and Paul.
I think we need to give some love to some horses near besides My Boy Tate and Silver Ride, and we'll talk about Always Sunshine, the last horse in the Post Parade. Paul, this horse is in terrific form. I know Stalwalking Dude isn't the same Stalwalking Dude that won this race 2 years in a row. He's still pretty darn good, and I thought his third behind Westwood and Scholar Scramjet, 2 very talented sprinters, was an excellent effort. And I think what it shows, too, is this horse who's stable in the Midwest, in the Mid-Atlantic, excuse me, can come to Naira, run against top horses, and run big races.
Yeah, you make a great point, because if you look back at his PPs, you see Imperial Hint in there. Obviously, we know what kind of quality he has. He's beaten Stalwalking Dude. You can argue he actually beat Stalwalking Dude by more than Silver Ride. He ran against El Deal when El Deal was going very, very well at that time. So he's run into some really good horses. Now, is he running into a freak again? And My Boy Tate will find out. But I think the 5 is so live in here.
I agree. I don't know that there's a significant difference between the relative chances of My Boy Tate and Always Sunshine here. This is a big test for My Boy Tate as well. Mr. Crow is a real wild card in this race. Did he really run well in the Vanderbilt, or did he just kind of get fourth by default? Because as terrific as Imperial Hint is, and as well as he ran that race, let's be honest here, Paul. That was not a stellar deep field overall.
I get it.
And I don't think his fourth place finish with anything special. And is he going to come back in 13 days and beat this field? And how's he going to run? Is he speed? Is he going to rate? What's he going to do?
Well, the other part of this, I know he's coming back in 13 days, but this is 4 races since June. So Ben likes to roll them out. They're not growing moss on their feet. So I think they're looking at it as this way. They can get to the front end in this group, because there's really no true front-end speed, and maybe they can get to the front and the horse gets brave.
Sometimes it ends up being the guy who wants it the most. Now, you talk about the lead. Manny Franco has to go with My Boy Tate, because if he's not aggressive from the gate, he risks getting himself caught up behind horses in a slowish pace. So at the very least, doesn't Manny have to leave for position?
Well, he has to leave for position. Yeah, you're right, because he possesses not a ton of early speed, but he possesses a lot of finish. But he's got to push whoever's going to go forward a little bit more so he can separate, get off the rail a little bit, and then get in that stalking position.
It's going to be a real jockey's race, and I'll tell you, other than Pop the Hood, who looks a little overmatched, I think all 4 of them can win, and I know that Gabby Godet wants to talk about My Boy Tate a little bit.
I do, Andy. I actually did get the chance to talk to Michelle Nevin as she was heading over here to the front side about My Boy Tate and the reason for the layoff. And she did say that she tried to do the right thing on the tail end of a very long but successful season, take him out to the farm, turn him out for a little bit, help him gain back some of that weight. And unfortunately, it was just something that it was a really hard time and a long time to get him back to the races. She said that her initial target was actually to the John Morrissey, which was on July 26th, and she just could not get him ready in time. But she's very happy that she waited, because he's absolutely thrived and flourished since then. And she said that he's really acclimated well up here to Saratoga. In terms of the strategy, I did ask her what Manny Franco might do from the rail. She said she thought that there were kind of 2 other speeds to her outside, to his outside, and just kind of play the break. Hopefully that this horse gets out of the gate, because that is obviously imperative from that inside post position. So we'll see what happens, but he's a horse that is definitely on his toes, but that's nothing new, Greg. She said that he's always been a bit of a handful.
All right, so we'll see how it plays out here. Keep in mind, My Boy Tate has never competed out of New York bred competition as well. So that's the big question mark here.
That's a question mark, and we talked a little bit about him not always being the fastest out of the gate and getting a little trouble. Down on the rail, if you don't get your way out of the gate, you're going to be behind horses, and that's not a good sign.
Meanwhile, everyone's talking about pace in this race.
You're looking at it
Couldn't
right there.
this horse, yeah.
Oh, there's no question. Pop the Hood is the one that's the fastest in the race. Look, outside of Pop the Hood, the boys are talking a little bit about Always Sunshine, the 5 horse. That's a horse that wants to use his speed to run his best race. And when he's a little less than that and kind of tactical, he doesn't always finish very well. But I think Pop the Hood is the quickest of the group, and I think these riders are going to be sending a little bit here. The 4, the 5, as well as the 1, My Boy Tate. I look for a quick pace. I hope it sets up that way, because I think it sets up well for an off-the-pace horse like Silver Ride, the 3 horse.
These compact fields, Andy, they always become a rider's race.
Yeah. Pop the Hood has about as much chance of being in front of this field, Tom, as I do of beating you in sumo wrestling, okay? There is absolutely no chance that he will be in front of this field. Paul, feel free to weigh in.
Can we get the sumo wrestling costumes so we can buy?
I tell you what,
how about this?
Andy, where's that flatbed truck for Lady Joan, by the way?
You guys are all wrong. Mr. Crow is going to be on the front end.
I think there's a better chance that Paul is right. I tell you what, Tom, we'll bet. Here's it. The bets are dinner and drinks at Hamlet and Ghost, and then when we get drunk enough, perhaps there'll be some sumo wrestling.
I'm all in.
We'll see what happens. A little extra here just on that. We should make wagers just on who will be in front. 12-1 on the 4. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
I don't know if I'd like to see that.
But in regards to the pace and warm-ups out here, yes, Pop the Hood has been the horse who's gotten the most aggressive warm-up beneath his regular rider, and Abel Escano. He's the one been away. He's been galloping him. He's been jogging him nicely on the bridle. So there's a little bit of intent, at least from what I observe out here, to lay close. Now, as far as number 3, Silver Ride, as he is second off of a layoff. Now, Brian Lynch stating that this horse does run well off of layoffs, and he wanted to give him a little time in between that last win off that year plus benchmark to regroup. He does seem to run fresh, but I will say that he actually looks a lot more fit than he did going back to that day at Belmont. So we'll see. Does that little break help him kind of recreate the same magic that he did last time? Obviously, as Tom said, he's going to be the one running late. Now, Always Sunshine, he's a cool old horse. I like this guy. This is one of the more fit times I've seen him too here for Ned Allard with his regular rider, Frankie Pennington, aboard. He's big, good looking, and he's well composed here, but he's got energy. He just is all racehorse. He has his mind on his business, and I think this guy is firing on all cylinders this time around for the Tail of the Cat. But for more on number 2, Mr. Crow, Gabby, what do you have for us?
Thank you very much, Maggie. And I just wanted to check in on the number 2, Mr. Crow, as to why I do like him. And I agree with your assessment of the Vanderbilt last time out. Obviously, he was chasing that pace, kind of a precarious position considering Imperial Hint and, you know, his talents and his merits. But on top of that, I almost wonder, and maybe I am being Captain Obvious here, but is it any bit of a coincidence that his 2 arguably subpar races, have been on a track with a little bit of moisture, and maybe that did hurt him. Now he's wheeling right back around, getting back to a fast track. I think this is a horse that's really, really sneaky in here, and I think he definitely has a shot of upsetting the favorite. Greg, could you see that?
And guys, I just want to check really quick in on your current favorite in My Boy Tate. Guys, he's gotten really hot out here. And I don't love the way that he's just kind of, I don't know, it might be just him, but he kind of just isn't wowing me like he did in the paddock out here on the racetrack. It's as if he's expending a little too much energy pre-race. Like I said, he can win on merit, but is he just a little bit too over the top here coming back off the bench? He has won, though, off a layoff before, Greg.
Yes, he has. He won that first time out to win here at Saratoga. That was off the bench. Went to the bench for a couple months again and won, and then he started reeling off victory after victory after victory. So he's the 8-5 favorite. He's trying to win his 6th in a row, but he's stepping up to face for the first time not just New York bred company, open company here in this spot in the Tail of the Cat.
Yeah, when you look at his flanks and his back end, you can see that he is not only a lot hotter than the rest of the horses, but he's telling you something there. And he's basically saying, I know I'm getting ready to run, and I'm very nervous about it.
There's Mr. Crow stepping in, steps out of a Grade 1 where he was very close to the pace in that incredible performance from Imperial Hint. But it will be My Boy Tate, the one, trying to win a 6th consecutive victory for trainer Michelle Nevin. Can he keep the streak alive? Let's send it upstairs to Larry Colmus, the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown, for the call of the Tail of the Cat.
1 left to load here. Always Sunshine will be the last one to go into the starting gate. My Boy Tate and Mr. Crow both currently at 9-5 as Always Sunshine steps up and in, and they're all in line. They're off in the Tail of the Cat. Mr. Crow a step slow out of the gate. My Boy Tate broke well on the inside. Silver Ride is away running in 2nd. Always Sunshine is 3rd as Mr. Crow goes by Pop the Hood and takes 4th. Up the backstretch, 2.5 lengths off of front running My Boy Tate and Manny Franco, who make the pace here, with Silver Ride a length back running in 2nd. Always Sunshine 3rd to the outside. Mr. Crow 4th along the rail, and Pop the Hood trails to a 22.52 quarter. My Boy Tate On top as they round the far turn. Always Sunshine's going to put some pressure on now. It's down to a half-length lead with 3 furlongs to go. And Pop the Hood is sent up on the outside of them, while Mr. Crow waits. 2.5 lengths off the lead and racing inside of Silver Ride, who's coming under a ride as they come toward the top of the stretch. And it is My Boy Tate with plenty of competition. Mr. Crow's trying to squeeze through a tight opening on the inside. Silver Ride is right there too. Mr. Crow didn't get through there, and here's Always Sunshine. And as they come to the final 16th, oh, My Boy Tate just keeps fighting. On the outside, it's Always Sunshine. Always Sunshine now to the front. My Boy Tate back into second as Always Sunshine wins the Tail of the Cat. My Boy Tate was second, Silver Ride was third, and then Pop the Hood in 109.79.
Always Sunshine coming off a stakes win at Delaware. There was a career best performance from him. Follows it up with a victory here at Saratoga.
Does indeed. Always look good, did Always Sunshine. The pace was right for him. My Boy Tate makes the lead. As far as the 3-horse Silver Ride goes, the configuration of this track definitely got to him. He was having trouble making the turns. He likes that wide track at Belmont, not so much here at Saratoga. Silver Ride won't be a play for me here at Saratoga.
Best horse won this race. Always Sunshine. Frankie Pennington went after the one, My Boy Tate, who got a pretty fair pace up front, an honest pace, and he just proved to be the best horse. Maybe My Boy Tate needed one off the layoff, but they all were able to catch Pop the Hood, who was last early.
Yeah, we're going to have a thumb war, not a sumo wrestling match, okay?
Yeah, after I claimed that Mr. Crow would get the lead, we were last and second to last. He got left, but I'll tell you what, Mr. Crow got the worst of this late. He tried to come up the inside, Jose Ortiz. He might have been the second best horse in this race. He got shut off by the 3. You can even see the rider, Luis Saez, look again late in the race because he shut him off again towards the end.
But I'm going to tell you something. This Always Sunshine's a very nice horse, and Ned Allard, who trains him, is an underrated trainer.
So Always Sunshine, back-to-back wins. He's just a determined runner down the lane.
Yeah, and you could actually make the case that this race was a step down from his regular stakes win. This is a restricted stake that he ran in today, so actually might have been a better and tougher race in his last performance at Delaware Park.
Ned Allard with the win here with his 6-year-old son of West Acre. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
And yes, here with his regular rider, Always Sunshine, and Frankie Pennington. Frankie, you have quite a rapport with this horse. Talk a little bit about this year. As a 6-year-old, he seems to be better than ever.
Yeah, he just keeps getting better and better, and when he does try, he pours his heart out for you.
And talk about your trip, kind of tracking outside of My Boy Tate, the early pace setter. Almost a similar trip to what you had back at Delaware in the Hockenson.
Yeah, he was sitting outside in the catbird seat, and coming up towards the quarter pole, I asked him a little bit, and he gave it to me, and when he gives it to me, he's going to give it all, so I knew we were sitting pretty good.
Frankie, you don't often get to ride up here at Saratoga, but you followed a nice one up here. What is it like winning on this stage?
It's great. You know, there's so many great people over here, and I got a lot of good friends over here, so it's nice to come visit everybody and get to win one while you're doing it.
Well, do me a favor and tell your wife, Jen, I said hello. Congratulations, as always, here with Always Sunshine.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, this is one classy big dude here. He knows he won. It's really cool walking next to him.
Frankie Pennington, his first ever win here at Saratoga. Wins for trainer Ned Allard. All smiles. Going to get their picture taken here in a stakes win at Saratoga.
And there's a horse that knows he won. He's coming back gallantly, ears forward. That's the way you want to do it.
Frankie Pennington, well done, winning on the big stage here. Shipping into town with a very talented sprinter. He's won a lot of races over the course of his career at Parks. And, of course, Ned Allard, very familiar here with Saratoga. He brought in a very nice runner. And a horse who is a 6-year-old has just seemed to be getting better and better as a sprinter. Always Sunshine, now back-to-back wins. This horse wins in his Saratoga debut. We're going to take a break in the action. When we return, another edition of I Am with our track photographer.
This graded stakes winner and multiple Grade 1 performer by Tapit has become one of the nation's leading sires of 2-year-olds. Ranked number 1 in his crop by number of winners, he sired 11 stakes horses in 2017, including graded stakes winners Wild Shot and Oklahoma Derby winner Untrapped. At the sales, his yearlings have sold up to $480,000. Trap Shot, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Back on Saratoga Live, presented by Claiborne Farm, and our feature race, the Tail of the Cat, in the books, and it's Parks-based connections getting the job done, coming in from out of town. Ned Allard and Frankie Pennington. He won his first graded stakes race ever as a rider back in 2015. The second graded stakes win of his career came with this horse, Always Sunshine, back in 2016.
Look, anytime you come to Saratoga, trainer, rider, owner, you get in that winner's circle, it is going to be a thrill of a lifetime, and we could hear them all the way up here from downstairs.
$7.20 for the win. Let's go downstairs to Gabby Gaudet.
Yes, there definitely was a bit of a rowdy crowd, but here with the winning trainer, Ned Allard, this horse has been up and down the East Coast, wins at several different tracks, comes here to Saratoga, another one on the belt.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very proud of him. He's a horse with a lot of talent. And if you time it right, you get a big race out of him. And he ran very well today. I was real pleased with his effort.
How well does Frankie Pennington kind of suit this horse, because he does have that late closing kick?
I think he fits him very well, and the rider really loves him. And I think they're just a great combination.
Talking about where we could maybe see Always Sunshine next, what do you have maybe on the ticket for him in the near future?
Well, as good as he's getting, we're going to entertain Kentucky in October, and might just go ahead and wait. We'll see. Time will tell.
Well, he is in the form of his life. There's no harm in trying a race like the Breeders' Cup. Right. But Ned, what do you make of it? I mean, he's a 6-year-old and he's in the form of his life.
Well, some horses just come around a little later in life, and he's certainly one of them.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on this one.
Thank you very much.
All right, Greg, we might see this horse a little bit later on the year at a place called the Breeders' Cup.
Well, he's a late bloomer, and credit to Ned Allard for getting this horse better and better as he's moved on in age.
Look, Kentucky in October means Keeneland, and that means the Grade 1 Phoenix. A win and you're in. I think it's a logical step to see if they can make that next step and then go on to the Breeders' Cup.
Why not take a shot? Horse at the best form of his career. You win at Saratoga in a stakes race. Put yourself on the map to start dreaming big. Naira Betts, late pick 5 follow along. Always Sunshine, $7.20 for the win. Another favorite defeated with that $18 horse in Lake 2. If you are alive, some big numbers we're going to be looking at, and we'll tell them to you coming up here as we set the stage here for our nightcap still to come. Her pictures have been featured on the cover of Blood Horse magazine, and if you've been lucky enough to win a race here at Saratoga or anywhere on the New York racing circuit, she has likely been the lady behind the lens. Let's meet the track photographer in another edition of I Am.
I'm Chelsea Durand, and I'm a track photographer. Track photographer, the main thing that we do is shoot the finish line of every race and the winner's circle. For a finish line photo, if you're shooting just straight across the track, all 4 off the ground, or there's like 2 strides that look really good. If it's a really close race, as long as the horse is in front, because sometimes it's not a good stride, but as long as the horse is in front and it's at the wire, before the wire, that's what we use. And there's also extra events going on at the track every weekend that we have to shoot for marketing and whatever else the track needs. I actually went to school for fine art photography, which has nothing to do with sports at all. So I understood like exposure, composition, how to use the camera, but I never shot anything moving, really, that quickly at least. And the equipment's different, it's much nicer than what I was used to, but you get the hang of it. So I started horseback riding when I was 8, and loved horses ever since, and also had a passion for photography, so it was really just combining the 2 passions coming here. There was a lot to learn. There's still a lot to learn. Like, I had no idea there was so much involved in horse racing. My favorite one was when California Chrome was running for the Triple Crown. That was the first time I ever shot morning workouts. I got a headshot, and it was on the cover of Blood Horse. And it was kind of cool because the Blood Horse covers I've gotten previously were all races, like that same angle I always shoot. So this was like the one that was different. And it's like, I just woke up 2 weeks in a row at like 4 a.m. and that was worth it. One of the most exciting moments was when I entered a photo for an Eclipse Award, and I got honorable mention of a photo of a horse, Kate is a 10, jumping a shadow at the finish line. When the horses are coming down to the wire, like, I feel like I'm gonna have a heart attack. It's like, I feel like half the reason is like I hope my camera doesn't break, and the other half, like, it's very exciting. Like when American Pharoah won the Triple Crown, I was lucky enough to see that, only being here for 5 years, and I like flipped out. Yeah, it was pretty emotional, and I was like, oh, I guess I like horse racing.
There's Chelsea Durand doing her thing, getting set up for that perfect shot that everybody's trying to find. And she is fantastic at getting so many great shots here all around the New York Racing Association circuit. Gotta go all over this race course to get those shots as well. And she's even made Andy Serling look phenomenal. His headshot, best shot I've ever seen of him anywhere.
Is that right?
It's very good.
Huh.
We still have 1 race to go. 5.5 on the turf. New York Bred's maiden special weight coming up. This race is wide. This might be the best betting race on the entire card.
A lot of first-time starters in this race. All the more reason to look at the board and see what's being played. The money's going to the horse with experience. The 7-horse Lost in Manhattan for Steve Asmussen, who's done very well with his babies here.
We're going to take a break of the action. We'll be back. Nightcap still ahead when we return. Our feature race tomorrow, of course, the 4-Star Dave. We're going to hear all about his story from the man who was aboard him, the MiG, when we come back. Stay tuned.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Horse for a course.
I think Four-Star Dave really started to become a fan favorite in Saratoga the third year he won up here as a 4-year-old. He started getting that moniker like horse for a course, Saratoga horse. And then by the 4th year, Four-Star Dave mania was starting to take place. I mean, people who were starting with t-shirts and hats, and it just kept going. I mean, 5th year, and people were going, well, how many horses run 5 years in a row in Saratoga, let alone win? And hard to imagine that he would ultimately win 8 years in a row up here. The thing about him, too, besides the fact that he would win every year in Saratoga, was he was very charismatic, and people would go to take pictures of him. He'd actually stop and pose, and he kind of really thrived on the attention. The '93 Saratoga meet was bittersweet. He got his win in Saratoga, keep the streak alive. And then he got taken down, and to me was one of the top 5 worst DQs I've ever seen, let alone been a part of.
Four-Star Dave was disqualified from first.
He shifted out a half a path when I went to go to my left-handed whip, and we barely brushed with a horse that wound up, I think, 5th. In one stride, it was back in my right hand, and I had him corrected. And then on top of that, the horse fell down at the break of the race. I mean, I was off of him. I don't know how. Somehow, with his head, he kind of put me back in the saddle. His last win in Saratoga in '94 was the most pressure I ever felt riding him. Maybe the only time I ever felt pressure riding him. The only way I thought he could lose is if I made a mistake.
Migliore
He makes his move with the old boy. There goes 4-Star Dave, and he sweeps to a short lead.
But I felt the weight of Saratoga anyway on my shoulders that day.
4-Star Dave is 1 furlong away from 8 years worth of Saratoga victories. Here's the old boy coming down to the line. He's making a runaway of it. The legend lives on. 4-Star Dave wins again at the Spa.
He delivered, you know, just a tremendous performance. And I remember I started, you know, patting on him and telling him what a good guy he was, what a good boy. And the crowd was amazing that day. They just went bonkers when we turned for home. Normally as a jockey, you don't hear the crowd. And that day I heard Saratoga react to 4-Star Dave. The day Dave got injured up here, he was chasing Lure and Paradise Creek, two, you know, world-class turf horses. And he was beaten about 7 lengths that day, and the outpouring of affection from the crowd, from the people of Saratoga, was pretty eye-opening. And I think, to me, that showed more than ever just how much he had gotten into people's hearts. They had a great retirement ceremony for Dave. They named the street by Ciro's after him, 4-Star Dave Way. The mayor of the city gave him the key to the city, albeit it was a big oatmeal cookie key. And I got on him over there at Ciro's, and it was a really fun celebration, and another way for people to basically say thank you to Dave for all he had given them over the years. You can come to Saratoga in the off-season. It could be October, November. Go to his gravesite at Clare Court, and people leave tributes to him, flowers or a bobblehead. There's always some memento of his success up here, and I just think it's great that it lives on how many years later.
Well, it's just an incredible story. Richard Migliore was his regular rider, and he wasn't always a favorite. One of the years he won in those races at Saratoga, he was an 11-1 shot, but he became just an ultimate fan favorite. The Sultan of Saratoga, 21 career wins. He won at least one race here each and every summer from 1987 to 1994. Just incredible.
Take a good look at that. 100 career starts. Over 50% of the time, he's first, second, or third. How could he not be loved?
Let's check in now with Maggie Wolfendale for a paddock report. It's brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Byron for $15,000.
Thanks, Greg. We're about to have riders up here on these 2-year-old New York breds on the turf, 5.5 furlongs, as we'll check in with some horses who have run in current favoritism, going to number 7, Lost in Manhattan, who is making his second start for the white-hot Steve Asmussen barn, especially with his 2-year-olds. Now, this is a horse that looked pretty fit first time out, but is a lot more tucked up. Now getting on the turf, a surface in which I think he will appreciate getting to, and I think this guy will be quicker away from there than what we saw at first asking. Then want to check in with number 11 at 16-1 is Wayne's Footsteps, primarily because this horse has done a complete 180. He was green, he was acting out, he wasn't fit at first time out. Now he is a half brother to Wired Bryan, who is a very good 2-year-old for these same connections. Now they're going to the turf. We'll see if he likes it. Does have a bit of a flatter hoof, despite not having that much pedigree. But just the improvement with this horse, I thought was noteworthy, as we'll take a look at the 6 here for a guy who is very good with his 2-year-olds, and that is Wisecrack. Nicely framed, an elegant frame, and looks fit. Was a little green in here, which isn't necessarily typical of Rick Violet's first-time starters. And also, I don't know about the turf. I mean, I know they worked him last time, his last work into this on the grass, and maybe that showed them enough, but physically, we'll see. He might like it. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't, though, either, Greg.
Well, there's just so many question marks in this last race coming up, which makes it a tremendous betting race ahead. A lot of horses not only debuting, but many trying the turf for the first time in here as well, even of those who have run. So we'll see coming up. I know a horse that intrigued you a little bit was a first-time starter by Dawn's Early Light, the 8.
Yeah, so a lot of these horses that are making their first start, how do you handicap those horses? You've got to turn to family. What has their family done on the grass? Maggie mentioned the 6, maybe, maybe not, at 7-2 in our second choice. There's no grass in his family, and his offspring have run poorly on it. But that's not true of the 8 by Dawn's Early Light, whose mom was a stakes winner on the Poly, graded stakes race on the Poly, and a lot of times that translates to turf.
Call to post, you hear behind us. There's a look at David Donk making his way onto the racetrack. He campaigns the 3 Veterans Beach. That's a debuter as well. son of Big Brown, on the board at 9-1 right now, the 3 veterans Beach. We're going to kick things off, though, in our post parade with the 2 first, who's going to have the inside post here in a moment. Southern Brigade, trained by Rudy Rodriguez, and Javier Castellano will be aboard.
Yeah, this is one of the 4 Colts and geldings here that will carry over the pick 6, 10-1.
Yeah, the 2, 3, 9, and 11 all carry the pick 6. As we get a look at Veterans Beach, here's the David Donk Big Brown Colt.
Always love the Generosio homebreds. This one's a 1/2 to 2 turf winners. Plenty of pedigree for the grass.
Rojo, another firster, and another Big Brown for Dominic Schettino.
Yeah, 3 straight Big Browns in a row. Is going to debut at Lasix, currently 11-1.
Floyd Unger's the 5, trained by Jeremiah Engelhart, first-time starter with Joe Bravo.
Worked 10 to 5th, the 2-year-old sale before selling for $100,000. There are 5 turf winners in the 2nd generation of the dam.
Wisecrack debuts for Richard Violet, and Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard.
Yeah, of all these 2-year-olds, there shows a work on the turf, so maybe that was a little advantage for the gray.
Red hot connections here. Steve Asmussen, Ricardo Santana Jr. with Lost in Manhattan, who debuted on dirt.
Plenty of pedigree for this one, 1/2 to 3 turf winners, and a son of Freud, who's an excellent turf sire.
It's the firster that Tom Amos was talking about by Don's Early Light, trained by Tom Albertrani.
Yeah, he's going to look for a double on the day, his trainer Tommy Albertrani. And this son from More Than Ready, I would think for a little bit longer, but it might be coming late.
Lumber, start number 3. It's the turf debut for Chris Engelhart.
This one's probably a long shot here. Really not a great turf pedigree, but the dam did win in the grass.
Plebe makes start number 2. Jose Lizcano rides for David Canizzo.
Listen, a good effort first time out, and I think the son of midshipman can build on that. That's why you're getting second choice.
And has an experienced turf sprint before. And here's Wayne's Footsteps. Debuted on the main track, had all kinds of trouble in that first out effort for Michael Dilger.
A long shot would have to improve dramatically off of that debut and has, at best, a little bit of grass pedigree.
So that is your field here for this finale at Saratoga. And again, let's go back to the horse we were talking about right before we had that post parade. The first timer here by Don's Early Light, the 8.
Yeah, by More Than Ready, a sire that really can have a very, very good turf runner, and out of a dam that was good in herself over the polytrack. Oftentimes, polytrack horses can translate to turf. That pedigree shouts turf more than any other pedigree in this race of any of the horses that either started or haven't.
Meanwhile, Plebe has the benefit of having a turf sprint under his belt already. Nobody else can really say that in here.
Look, in these 2-year-old races, it is a benefit to have a race over the track because the most improvement you're going to get is going to be from that first to second start. So you've got to respect Plebe, who just ran 6 furlongs at Belmont over the turf. His first start and was 3rd.
And here's the performance. It came back on June 30th at Belmont. It was 6 furlongs on the turf and did take some money in this race, went off at 6-1.
Yeah, so here's the deal. If he's not ready to run the first time out and he kind of coasts home and runs an even 3rd, don't hold that against a horse that may not have been fit the first time he ran. Many of us as trainers will use that first start to get to the second start. That's what we're hoping for with Plebe.
Nothing like experience, guys, and that plays big here when you're facing a lot of first-time starters.
Oh, experience, I couldn't agree more with Tom, is a great thing, but Plebe's performance a little dressed up. I mean, I do respect the horse that finished ahead of him. They're actually okay runners, but that was an extremely soft pace that he was on top of, Paul, and I wonder if that won't serve him well here, but he's obviously a horse who could win.
Yeah, he can. I mean, listen, this is such a wild card race. You have so many horses here. You don't really know who's going to really take to the turf. And the 2 horses that they're betting, the 10 and the 7, Plebe's got an okay race, like Tom says. He probably got enough out of it. You can see he's getting tired a little bit late there.
And the 7 horse Lost in Manhattan for Steve Asmussen. I think he's a terrible gamble at 3-1. And I picked him in this race. I didn't realize he'd be this short. But I guess Aston Barney ran behind a good dirt horse. But this is really a pedigree that he should prove on turf. 3 of the 5 runners from the dam tried the grass, Paul. 3 of the 5 that tried it won, including Beau Art, who's not a bad New York bred, actually won here last year, Broken Maiden on opening day at this meet, and Freud, a terrific turf sire. So there's pedigree that says this one could move a lot forward on the grass.
Yeah, and if you look over the perils of time, Steve Asmussen is just dominant second time out, even though he's been dominant with his first-time starters. This one's live as can be. He didn't get bet that much first time out. It's getting bet today. Crazy stat. Asmussen, horses coming from Belmont to Saratoga, 8 wins, 16 out of 22 have hit the board.
But how many were turf horses? That's the one thing
Yeah.
that worries me. He's so much more proficient on the dirt. But listen, I picked him. I'm not against him by any stretch. Veterans Beach interests me. I always love the Generosio runners. And it seems like they always have tons of turf pedigree, their horses. Interesting to see them with David Donk. I don't know how many horses they've had with in the past, but this could be a dangerous player here and taking a little money.
Yeah, it is taking a little money. You know, there are a couple of horses there. When you look at a bunch of first-time starters, people are looking deep into pedigrees. And, yeah, this one's got a pedigree to like the turf. A lot of people forget. I know Big Brown won the Derby. He also won his debut by about 20 on the turf.
No, he was an exceptional turf horse, actually. He might have been better on the turf, believe it or not. He was in the dirt, Greg.
Naira Betts, late pick 5, by the way. Top 3 choices on the board between 2,000, 2,600, and then the numbers get real big after that. If you are alive, we're rooting you home. We're going to take a quick break. The nightcap next.
Once again, among the world's leading sires of stakes horses and graded stakes horses, Warfront has sired 8 champions and 8 millionaires. Recent Grade 1 winners include European champion U.S. Navy Flag and Lancaster Bomber, plus an ever-growing list of 2018 graded stakes winners. In the sales ring, his yearlings continue to bring prices well over $1 million. International Super Sire Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back here on Saratoga Live, our nightcap coming up here on this Friday afternoon. And we're going to check in right now at the brand new all-exclusive stretch area, the private hospitality area with all the upscale amenities not available anywhere else on the track. Let's go to Gabby Gaudet.
Greg, that's right. We're here in the new stretch area, and fans are still hanging out at the end of the day to catch the last race here. But one thing that's very exciting about Fridays and Saturdays from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m., NYRA has decided to open up this new facility to the general public. So you can actually come out here, take advantage, and experience this experience, drink some beer, eat some food, and listen to a live DJ that is actually setting up just over there too. So there's a lot of fun going on, and as you can see, people are still having fun here behind me, drinking their beers, betting the ponies, and eating a little bit too. But in terms of this nightcap, I'm going a little bit crazy. I'm going to the 11 Wayne's footsteps to the outside. I did see him on the track. He seemed like he was really keyed up and a little bit immature. But I hope that with a better break and Kendrick Carmouche in the saddle, you could maybe take a little piece of this at 16-1. What do you think, Greg?
I think anybody, this is such a wide open race that you have to get involved if you're watching right now, because nobody would surprise me in here.
Yeah, so that particular horse has some turf in the family and the experience of a race and maybe a troubled start in his first start. So a lot to consider with Wayne's footsteps, the 11.
16-1, all kinds of trouble in that debut. Now getting on the grass for start number 2. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale for more.
I like the way Gabby's thinking. I would Not be scared of taking Wayne's footsteps. Like I said, he is night and day from when he ran first time out. But some first-time starters to talk about here. Floyd Unger is a horse for Jeremiah Englehart. Now, he's a little bit green in the paddock, a little green with the pony here with Joe Bravo. He is taking some money. I didn't mind his workout, and he worked 10-1. He lowered himself well. He looks well meant for this spot. Wouldn't be surprised if he shows a little bit of speed, too. It's a fitness and mental aspect of, is he going to be too green? Is he going to be fit enough? As no other foals have made it to the racetrack other than he. As we'll take a look also at the 3 in here for trainer Dave Donk. That is Veterans Beach, a half to Saratoga Treasure, who won first time out here at the spot last year for the Generasios. And this horse, good looking, wondering if he wants a little more ground though than the 5.5. Did get an aggressive warm up with Manny Franco just to try to wake him up here. I like him, like I said, 5.5. We'll see how he does, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Well, what do you do in a race this wide open with so many variables? The public going to the only horse of the field who has experience in a turf sprint. That is the 10, Plebe. Start number 2 here. Sprinting on the grass for David Canizzo. There is Plebe, the son of Midshipman, your favorite in our finale here on this Friday afternoon from Saratoga. Let's send it upstairs to Larry Colmus for the call.
And one left to load here is Wayne's Footsteps. Comes up to the outside stall. And they're all in line. They're off. Plebe out of there well with Wayne's Footsteps on the outside, flashing some early foot. And coming through is Veterans Beach along with Wisecrack, who now goes up between horses and grabs the lead. It's now Wisecrack in front. On the inside, Veterans Beach running in second. Up into third is Wayne's Footsteps. Lumber steady there in his back, running in fourth. Rojo fifth on the inside. Plebe is sixth by another 2.5 lengths. And then it's back to By Dawn's Early Light, racing on the outside of Lost in Manhattan. And at the back of the field are Southern Brigade and Floyd Unger. 22.42 the quarter. And it is Wisecrack on top and getting away to a 2-length lead here. Wayne's Footsteps up running in second as Plebe begins to move on the outside. Cutting the corner is Veterans Beach. They're into the stretch. Wisecrack trying to hold off this competition. Wayne's Footsteps, Plebe, and Veterans Beach closing through on the inside. These 4 line up, and Veterans Beach up the rail has taken the lead. And then it's Plebe on the outside who's coming on with Wayne's Footsteps between those two. But it is Veterans Beach. Veterans Beach under the wire, the winner by 2 over Wayne's Footsteps, and then came Plebe in third, followed by Lost in Manhattan and Southern Brigade in 104.56.
Veterans Beach, first time out, the son of Big Brown gets the win for trainer David Donk with Manny Franco in the irons.
Shortest trip home turned out to be the way to go with Veterans Beach. When you're watching him down the stretch, take a good look at the horse on your outside in that first wave with the blue blinkers. That's Plebe. He's lugging in so badly that he can't be ridden by Lascano, and you can see him just holding onto the horse and being able to do nothing else. He might have been the best horse if he could have guided him correctly.
Yeah, a very good trip and a very good ride by Manny Franco and Veterans Beach. You could see on the backstretch that the leader, the number 6 horse, Wisecrack, was way out in the middle of the track. So obviously Manny knew he was going to be able to come through on the inside. So he wasn't that worried about sitting on the inside and waiting for space. He got it and he got through. Agree with Tom. The 10 would have been no worse than second if he could have straightened him out, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. Give up a little love for you for Veterans Beach. And Cabby and Maggie coming up with the 11. Wayne's Footsteps, who ran giant in this spot at about 18-1 to get that exact. The 10, Jose Lascano has to be dead tired because he was just done dealing with him at the end of the race. And the 7, Lost in Manhattan, he needs to go a little bit further around, but this is going to be a nice little exact at the end of the day, boys.
Yeah, 9-1 over 18-1. That 311 exacta. There is David Donk heading back to the winner's circle. And nice job by his rider here, Manny Franco, to save ground around the racetrack.
No, it was indeed. And Big Brown once again shows how versatile he is as a sire, both turf and dirt.
So Veterans Beach at a price, $20 to close things out here in this nightcap. We said this final race in the card was definitely worth one getting in on. And you get a 9-1 over an 18-1 for your exacta here. 3-11-10-7, Veterans Beach. The win. We'll be back with prices right after this.
Visit Rivers Casino and Resort, upstate New York's ultimate entertainment destination, with live table game action and the hottest new slots paying out millions. Book your luxury waterfront room or suite at upstate New York's premier resort, the Landing Hotel at Rivers Casino and Resort.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Brunches out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Gonna turn with a link to the half lead. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
$20 winner in the nightcap here in this Friday afternoon at Saratoga. David Donk with a first-time starter, son of Big Brown, out of a Sky Mesa mare Skygazer for Patricia Generazio. Manny Franco aboard for the winning ride.
Big-time race along the inside by the 3-horse, and a horse, I think, with a future. That horse looked good finishing across the grass course, and I think may could get further.
3:11:10 finish, and again with the 10 plebe, Jose Lezcano having to work awfully hard here.
He ran like a plebe. He ran like a new boy, as we used to say back in the fraternity house. The new boy didn't get it done. You're going to watch him again, the blinkers on the outside with the white face. You can see Lezcano leaning to the outside to try to keep him there, hitting left-handed to keep him from lugging in, but he just can't keep him off those horses. So what happens? You can't ride. If you can't ride and you have to just hold the horse, you can't finish. Look how high he is in the saddle trying to correct him.
Choppy down the stretch there, and that's how difficult a situation is that for a jockey. So there he's just trying to hang on for dear life and not cause interference with the horse next to him.
Look, jockeys have about anywhere from 5 to 7% body fat, and they're all strength. But believe me, Jose Lezcano, he's walking a little lower on his left side and his right side when he walked back to the room.
Naira Bets late pick 5 follow along. $18 horse, $20 horse to close it out. It comes back $6,515. Again, just continues to be tremendous value in that Naira Bets late pick 5. Well, speaking of that wager, if you hit it on a Saturday, if you're the only winning ticket, minimum, regardless of how much is in that pool, of $300,000 will be going into your account. Good luck to everyone who's going to play on Saturday, our feature race. Of course, the Grade 1 4-star Dave. We showed you the piece on the horse who is one of the most popular horses of all time here at Saratoga. This race is intriguing, quality, top to bottom. Yoshida, of course, for Bill Mott. We've talked about him going overseas to Royal Ascot, running in the Queen Anne. Comes back to the States, where when we last saw him here, he won back-to-back graded stakes races.
Yeah, maybe you could make a case that Yoshida's best distance is further than a mile as well. This race tomorrow at a mile and that trip overseas and back, we've already seen a couple horses fail here at the meet that have tried to do that have gone over there, run, and come back to run here. You know, Andy, I'd love your thoughts not only on distance for Yoshida, but the trip overseas.
The trip overseas is a bit of a wild card. You know, to be fair, Tom, Guidou, who went over there, I actually think he overachieved in finishing 4th. I don't believe in any way the trip affected his performance. I think what may concern me more than distance or the trip or anything is the turf condition. when he won that race at Churchill, that turf was a bog. And yeah, we've had some rain, but we're getting nice weather, so we're going to be good to firm tomorrow. And I wonder if he's a horse that might be better with more give in the ground. I still think he's the horse to beat.
Well, he's definitely the horse to beat. I mean, that's not the question. When you've won a Grade 1, a Grade 3, and just missed Voodoo Song when he probably could have won that race. Listen, he ran a lot better than a lot of people thought in Ascot and the Queen Anne. And if he comes back and he's like 95%, he's going to be a handful.
I think he is, but I think a lot of people are overlooking Made You Look, who has dramatically improved since switching to Chad Brown's barn.
Most horses usually do. Going to one of the best barns in the country right now as we take a look at this field. Made You Look 8-1 on the morning line, trying to pick up the 5th win of the son of More Than Ready's career. Meanwhile, Bill Mott, of course, the long trip overseas, only beat a length and a quarter in the end of that straightaway mile in the Queen Anne. Let's hear from the Hall of Fame trainer on Yoshida.
Doing well. We'd taken him to England for a race in June, and he came back. He seemed to travel well. It seems like he's had enough time to recover, and his last couple works have been very good. I mean, the first one was meant to be easy, and then we had a good 5 furlong work on the turf, you know, about 10 days ago, and very, very good. Galloped out very good, and then we, you know, came back with an easy work this last time, and, you know, all on the bridle, but he seemed to be traveling along well, and from what I can tell, he seems like he's going into the race as good as we can get him.
Can't wait to see him. That's going to be a fantastic rendition of the 4-Star Dave tomorrow, and we're looking very much forward to it. Yoshida 3-1 on the morning line. Manny Franco trying to win that race back-to-back years, winning with world approval last year. We're going to check back in over at the stretch with Gabby Gaudet and get some contest updates.
Yes, we're here at the Saratoga Challenge, and you can see behind me, everybody's checking the board, checking the screen to see where they actually finished. Now, it hasn't been made official yet, but right now, Paul Sherman is the unofficial winner. He went from 18th place to 1st place, so really successful in that last race there, Greg. But on top of that, again, tomorrow is the 4-Star Dave Challenge. That is a $2,000 entry, $200 per race, so the excitement continues over to tomorrow.
We hope everybody joins us tomorrow to catch our feature race. 4-Star Dave, one of the great races of this meet. Can't wait to see it. Let's take a look at the Showdown standings. Saratoga Showdown, our free online contest. You can play each and every day on the show here. You can go to NYRA.com/showdown. Beaver 18, I believe, has won it before, so congrats. This is a sharp handicapper, gets it done again here with a $204 bankroll. Again, you're competing for real points in your wagering account and a prize package that includes trip to next year's Belmont Stakes. Friday in the books at Saratoga. Hope you enjoyed it. Our feature race, it was the tail of the cat, and we had some connections coming in from Parks, Ned Allard, Frankie Pennington, getting the job done with a horse who now is dreaming bigger and bigger and maybe thinking Breeders' Cup Sprint could be in the plans later this year. We will see you on Saturday afternoon from Saratoga with the Grade 1 4-Star Dave. Take care, everybody.